newspaper printed one quote that Mitchell ruffled more feathers than a cock in a hen house. Significantly, Isak's new contract wasn't even close to the top of Mitchell's priority list. Mitchell is no longer at the club. Ross Wilson, now the sporting director. Eddie Howe is understood to be very much behind the appointment of Wilson. So if Eddie Howe said Isak playing well will help his contract situation, and if Eddie Howe is on good terms with the latest sporting director, how come we've reached this situation? Since Isak scored and was named man of the match on his Newcastle debut, ironically against Liverpool 3 years ago, he's been incredible. 54 Premier League goals, 86 Premier League games. He's apparently on £120,000 a week. A lot of money to you and me, but he's not the biggest earner at the club. Nowhere near the elite earners in the Premier League, and he is an elite Premier League player now. And if an elite Premier League player hears his manager say publicly Alex will help his contract situation by playing well, and is then given no new contract after playing very, very well, he's going to be annoyed. On top of that, Newcastle are contradicting themselves. They've turned down a bid of 110 million from Liverpool. They're saying he's worth 150 million. They're also saying he's not worth a new contract. It doesn't add up. Should he be refusing to play? No, of course not. Has he got the right to feel let down? Definitely. Howe said in July he's never had any issue with Isak, but this has clearly affected the player. It all started, Troy Deeney. Eddie Howe left Isak out of a pre-season friendly at Celtic in July. And when asked about his future, Howe said, it's football, you never know what can happen. Isak himself said he's not going to play again. The relationship cannot continue. Why would Newcastle keep paying £120,000 a week, £6.25 million a year to a player who won't be playing for them? And why would they keep a player who isn't going to play if they could sell him and bank at least, what, £130 million? Surely the logical next step, Troy Deeney, Newcastle sell Isak before the window shuts.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that merry-go-round you took us on there did go all the way back to like 13, 14 months ago for matchday leaving. So been a lot happening, a lot going around. I think when you look at the situation, it does feel that Isak has felt he's slighted. He's felt this at the moment he needs to go. I think Eddie's conducted himself well. Personally, I think he's handled the situation very, very well. And now it's just a case of Isak trying to get what he wants. And Eddie gets to the last week. You can see, as we spoke about a little bit earlier, the Strand Larsen deal, the Vista deal. Newcastle are preparing for life after Isak. They know even if he doesn't go right now, he's not going to be here in a year's time. I think he goes personally. I think Sam thinks he goes as well. I'm talking for him. But right now, why would you want to sell him before this game? Why would you want to give Liverpool the upper hand? You want to make it as difficult, A, for the player, and B, for someone that you would consider a Champions League rival as well. So I don't want to get them better.
We do a show together on a Friday. I think I've been saying for the last few weeks, nothing would happen before this game. I believed in that because I thought it would be too toxic if something happened and he ended up playing in red here. But I do think they will sell him eventually. I think they have to, because what's the point, as you've said, what's the point of holding on to someone if you can get 130 million quid for them? They've already started, they've looked up at Strand Larsen today. They'll probably go in with a bigger bid for Vissa as well, which means they're already starting to pave the way for that departure. But how sensitive do you have to be if that's a slight, the stuff that you've read out? Because people say a lot of other things that are perceived as slights. I'm not sure that they were them. I think the issue actually came about when Paul Mitchell decided that he didn't believe it was a priority to give Alexander Isak a new contract. And we know that there was huge tensions between Mitchell and Eddie Howe.
Is there a chance, Troy, that another club might be looking at this situation and chance it? Just try and put in a bid. Just say a Tottenham, for example. If they... Well, it's just throwing it out there. I mean, it might not happen, but he's available. He's free. He could move. If you give Newcastle the right money, wouldn't it be great if Newcastle, from their point of view, sold him to someone else rather than Liverpool? They'd feel fantastic, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. But you need somebody else with that level of money to come to the table. And where is that at the moment with PSR in world football? Where is that money?
Spurs, 80 million plus Richarlison.
I don't think that would buy his left boot. So, look, Spurs don't spend 80 million on anyone. They're not going to spend 130 million on anybody. It's not about Spurs. Spurs are doing great, and we'll talk about them at a later date. But I just think it's the only game in town, and you could be in that situation where Man United now are looking at Bruno Fernandes saying, should we have took that 100 million? And again, I don't think that's the right decision, but it is now a topic of conversation. For me, I think he's excellent. He's the best striker in world football, in my opinion. He's the only one who can do everything really well. You look at other people, they've got like Haaland, he's in the box, he scores a load of poacher goals, not great with his back to goal. Isak is the most all-round striker that I think in world football currently. So I'd want the best price because I know I can't replace him.
Okay, very quickly, are we all thinking Isak won't be a Newcastle player but will be a Liverpool player by the time the window closes?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, agreed on that. We shall see. Alex Cook will keep us informed on deadline night and before, and on the website talksport.com. You're listening to Kick-Off Live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly like Newcastle Liverpool live tonight. Search Now Sports.
Kick-Off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. 18+ gambleaware.org. Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating. Amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there. His favourite ice cold beer. What a result. Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Summer fashion announcement. Stripes are in, darling. Oh, and also florals. Groundbreaking, we know. Pastels and block colors too. Basically, you choose. From breathable floral duvet sets to modular wardrobes and stripy blockout blinds, IKEA has hundreds of new summer products to let summer in. Fabulous. Visit IKEA online or in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a tree, playing on the lawn.
We're playing real life football.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
You've reached the final level. The Spicy McNuggets side mission. Maximum flavour, crispy crunch, and a spicy dip with a kick. Are you ready? Spicy McNuggets, for a limited time only. Until the 9th of September 25. Fees apply to delivery. Participation and price may vary. Subject to availability. Serving times apply.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then... substitution. His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boosts, T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18+ gambleaware.org.
Kick off live on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Newcastle versus Liverpool live today. Search Now Sports. 18+ free via internet. Terms apply.
Talk Sport with Bostik. If you need a professional grade sealant with high mold resistance, easy tooling and minimal shrinkage, choose Bostik Pro Sealants.
Some breaking news. Everton have signed Tyler Dibling from Southampton. The attackers penned a 4-year deal for what the Toffees are describing as an undisclosed fee. With Wolves rejecting Newcastle's £50 million bid, it looks as if Eddie Howe's search for a striker this transfer window will go down to the wire. This news comes on the day that Keith Andrews says he fully expects Johan Visser to stay at Brentford. Staying with that club, right back Aaron Hickey is back in the Scotland squad for the first time in almost 2 years for the start of their World Cup qualifying campaign. He's been out with a long-term injury. Napoli pair Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmore among 5 who play for Italian clubs. Leeds have made their 10th signing of the summer, snapping up James Justin from Leicester for £10 million. The fullbacks signed a 4-year deal at Ellen Road. And Britain's Cameron Norrie is through to the second round of the US Open after Sebastian Korda was forced to retire through injury. Norrie was 2 sets up at Flushing Meadows when his opponent withdrew. Don't forget Newcastle Liverpool, live and exclusive here on TalkSport Kickoff Select.
Initiate adrenaline pumps. Kickoff live on TalkSport.
You're listening to Kickoff Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. Less than half an hour to kick off here at St James Park. Both sides out there warming up as the ground fills up. T-shirts for sale outside the ground and unofficial merchandise stalls with what looks at first glance like the logo of a huge, famous Swedish retail store, but it actually says Isak, and underneath carries on is a rat. And one of those stalls offering a free box of matches with the T-shirt. Don't play with fire, guys. More on that on TalkSport's Instagram account at TalkSport. Time now to look at the latest football action with Ladbrokes.
The big preview on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. You build it. We give you a totally free bet this week and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
And let's remind you of the teams. Here's your commentator, Sam Matchface.
Newcastle unchanged from the goalless draw away at Villa on the opening day of the season. Liverpool make 2 changes. Szoboszlai plays at right back. In the absence of the injured Frimpong and still getting fit Connor Bradley. So it is Pope in goal, Trippier, Shea, Byrne, Livramento, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joelinton in midfield, Ilanga, Gordon and Barnes in attack. Pope making his 300th career appearance for Newcastle United today. Liverpool, Alisson in goal, Szoboszlai, Konate, Van Dijk and Kerkez, Jones and Gravenberg in the middle of the park with Salah, Viet and Gakpo behind Ekitike in attack.
Sam, thanks very much. Let's have a look at the weekend's action. Tottenham went top on Saturday. Arsenal needed a 5-0 win to go above them. They got it. Liverpool need a big win tonight to overtake the Gooners. West Ham are bottom, Wolves above them. Both have yet to get a point this season. So let's pick our magic moments of the weekend. Troy Deeney, can we start with you? Your magic moment of the weekend, please, sir.
I'm going to give it to Thomas Frank and to Spurs. I think the 3 games he's played officially, he's managed to be tactically aware. He's really small details that have added. Loads of things for Brentford, early crosses, more ball forward. I think he's got a team that Ange Postecoglou's spent half of the year complaining about, that, you know, never fit, can't do this, can't do that. And he's turned them into a team that I genuinely believe they could add 1 or 2 pieces. Are shoo-in for top 4. I really believe it.
I'm going to come back to you on Spurs in a second, but I know, Sam, you've got a bit Spurs with your magic moment as well, haven't you?
I have. I really enjoyed their aggressive press. The hunting down of Manchester City was absolutely terrific. And the performance of Pap Matasar was absolutely at the heart of it. He caused all sorts of problems. If you go back and review his performance, you'll see one of relentless energy combined with intelligent movement, timed interventions, and the 2 moments that changed the game. First, the flick on winning the aerial battle down the right-hand side, which glances the ball into Richarlison's palm that leads to Johnson's goal. And then he's the one that eats up the pass from James Trafford that goes into the edge of the penalty area. I mean, the way he reacts is absolutely superb. It's brilliant. And he snapples the ball so that Polinia can make it 2-0. And actually, I spoke to Polinia afterwards at length, and he said to me the player that has most impressed him since he's arrived at Spurs was Pat Matasar. And actually, Thomas Frank was full of praise for him afterwards as well.
That's interesting, and I heard that interview on Game Day Live yesterday. I want to ask you both, and I'm just throwing it in there because I think some people might be asking the question as well. Certainly there'll be an anti-Spurs sort of cynical element asking these questions. So the 2 questions are, you can both take them whichever you want. Spurs won 4-0 at City last season, and yeah, everybody's saying that this 2-0 win was better than that 4-0 win. Somebody explain that. And the other thing is, Spurs also in... Should people be getting carried away with Thomas Frank?
I'll take the first one. I think the reason I think it's a better one is because we ended up seeing what Man City became over the course of that year. It wasn't the same, no changes, loads of issues. This is a new and improved and regenerated Man City team that after last week, a lot of people, I think Sam's even tipped them to win the league. Have you gone for City? Yeah, he has gone for City. And that shows to me that, okay, everyone thinks they're going to be a team. but Spurs felt comfortable, felt in control. And whenever Spurs played with Ange, yes, they would win, but there's always that little feeling, that undercurrent that they're gonna give it away. They're gonna do something. Someone's gonna get injured. It just feels to me like the complete team now. It's like a real team effort. They've got, again, if everyone's fit, they've got people that can come in and help. Taking off Richarlison now, bringing on Solanke is a like for like. You don't lose too much power there. And I just felt that it was a more complete performance.
It's not just one performance. Last year, Ange Postecoglou's team produced a couple of good performances over the course of the season, were really defining for their campaign. The one in Frankfurt was excellent, the way they maturely handled the Boda Glimt situation without any fuss, and then obviously the final itself to get the job done. But those performances were few and far between. This is a sequence of events now with the Thomas Frank team that is tactically disciplined and well organised, and just using your eyes, forget statistics, forget results, just looking at them, you can see the work that's gone in on the training ground, that everyone's buying into it. The other thing about Ange Postecoglou and his great start, let's just put that in a little bit of context. They drew their opening game of the season that year to Brentford away from home. Yes, they beat Manchester United, but let's remember what the situation at Manchester United was at that time. They won away at Bournemouth. They got knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Fulham on penalties after being second best in that game that night. They won away at Burnley. They beat Sheffield United. They did do well to draw 2-2 with Arsenal, and they beat Liverpool in Klopp's last season. But the other results are beating Fulham in the league, Crystal Palace in the league, and Luton in the league. And then they went on an absolutely dreadful run.
Okay, you handled that really well, both of you. Well, jolly well done. And Sam, I want to talk to you about, you and I were both at Everton yesterday, and I rocked up to the stadium. This is my magic moment, and it's the first Everton goal yesterday. It's a very special place. It really is an amazing stadium, one of my very favourites. Waterside location. Fans can sit outside on steps overlooking the water and having a beer before and after the game. There's views over the river from the bars. Food with good prices, very reasonable. I thought the stadium itself superb. Pre-match atmosphere superb. And in the opening seconds, Grealish, who they loved, by the way, when his name was read out, it was a massive cheer for him. The next name was Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. I think they felt they had to give as big a cheer to him as well, but that worked in his favour. But in the opening seconds, Grealish took on his fullback, then won the ball back with a committed tackle. It roused the crowd. But when Brighton had a couple of chances and spurned them early on, the crowd got nervous. They went very quiet. One cynical old Evertonian had joked with me as I walked up the steps to see that they would become the first club to be booed off after their opening game at the new stadium. One fascinating fact for you, by the way. 4 years ago, the site of that stadium was water, and the first thing that had to be done was divers went down to the bed to clear it. They found 12 unexploded World War II bombs. They were taken away, exploded on Formby Beach. Well, halfway through the first half, I thought they'd exploded a 13th bomb. And Dye started to move past the Dewsbury Hall in the middle of the park. A couple of touches from him disrupted Brighton defensively and sent Grealish away on the left. Low cross buried by Dye. Crowd went wild. There was Jimmy Garner's brilliant goal after that. Pickford penalty save superb. Full time was a joy. I think it's up there with the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Everton's ground.
Yeah, it feels authentically football, and I love the stone wall, which as you walk up separates the rest of the whole area from the stadium. And you go through those gates into the fan plaza, and there's loads of great outlets for entertainment and congregation for supporters to be there for a long time together before and after a game. That feels good. The stadium itself is as steep a gradient of seat as you can get, and the legal limit is I think 35% the gradient, and it is at that limit. That was on purpose because they wanted to feel as if the seats were on top of the pitch. They've managed to do that. I think it's a brilliant stadium. I absolutely loved the experience yesterday, and actually if you hadn't have chosen this as your magic moment, I was going to say Z cars as they walked out was my magic moment of the weekend, because I thought that was absolutely spine-tingling. And you mentioned about the noise. 111 decibels the moment that Njai puts the ball in the back of the net. It's not Goodison Park. It's never going to be Goodison Park. You can see the whole pitch for a start, and it's not going to be as visceral and as ferocious as that. It's not, because it was a different type of building. It was a whole, you're on top of each other, let alone the pitch, so it's completely different. But it's a brilliant, it feels like it's going to be a brilliant home for Everton, and they were a little bit fortunate to get ahead in that match after Brighton had spurned some big chances. But sometimes, you know, the gods align, and if Carlsberg did opening days, they would have chose Njai to score the first goal, Grealish to be man of the match, Pickford to make a penalty save, and they would have won, and they did.
Yeah, they did. It was a great day all round for Evertonians, no doubt about that. And I think that it was There She Goes, the Lars classic, which is absolutely a great tune, and they sang that. There was a minute edit of that, and they sang along with that before, and I thought that was spine-tingling. Then Z-Cars happened, and you're like almost moved to tears, even though you're not an Everton fan. It was something very special. So, yeah, agreed on all of that. It's a special place. If you get the chance, do go and admire Everton's fantastic new stadium, Hill Dickinson Stadium, known to the locals as the Hill Dicko. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+, gambleaware.org.
The big preview on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. You build it. We give you a totally free bet this week and a big boost every day. That's Ladisfaction. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Well, both these clubs, Newcastle and Liverpool, will have TalkSport on this Thursday afternoon for the Champions League draw in Monaco. Newcastle back in after a year away. Liverpool looking to do better than last year when they were knocked out on penalties in the round of 16 by PSG. But before all of that, they've got tonight to get through. Newcastle-Liverpool coming up live on TalkSport.
Kick-off on Talk Sport with Ladbrokes. 18+, gambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home, watching the big game cozied up in the snug. Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing with my football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating. Amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there. His favourite ice cold beer. What a result. Catch every game live in a Pub and Grill at Village. Get in. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Summer fashion announcement. Stripes are in, darling. Oh, and also florals. Groundbreaking, we know. Pastels and block colors, too. Basically, you choose. From breathable floral duvet sets to modular wardrobes and stripy blockout blinds, IKEA has hundreds of new summer products to let summer in. Fabulous. Visit IKEA online or in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
The road stretches before you, but there's trouble ahead. Stationary cars. You're faced with the McDonald's side mission. Do you, A, join the ever-growing queue, or B, take the next exit and treat yourself to a glorious Mackey's?
Detouring to McDonald's.
Start your side mission today.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then... substitution. His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boosts, T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Kick off live on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Initiate adrenaline pumps. Kick off live on Talk Sport.
Starts to send it forward. Ekitike with a shot into the far corner. What a start for Hugo Ekitike. Oh, that was sharp.
Ekitike, you can tell that he's going to be a real handful this season.
More to come. Keep working hard and being performing for us. And it's good for him that he's off the mark. And yeah, hopefully more to come.
Ekitike bursting through the middle for Liverpool. He scored on his Premier League debut. Welcome to the top flight.
I think also they're aware that Mo Salah will do well, I think, to hit the numbers that he hit last season. He's a year older. Obviously, he didn't finish last season brilliantly. You've got AFCON as well, midway through the season, so you're going to lose him for a period of time. I think Ekitike might outscore Salah this season.
But he's a good enough player to play instead of Alexander Isak or complementary alongside Alexander Isak. He can do both.
Also something else which probably is highly valued by Arne Slot. He's a great pressing player. So you got Dominic Szoboszlai, one of the best pressing players in the entire league, in the Premier League, and now adding Ekitike and Florian Wirtz. So they might be a force to be reckoned with also defensively when it comes to high pressing.
Ekitike has had a great start for Liverpool. He could have come here, and he's about to find out about the joys of St James Park. Across the way from me, there's loads of flags. They always have a big display at Newcastle. The big one right in the centre says get into them. Away to our right, it says nothing is achieved alone. We are a city, a whole population. We are Newcastle United. And away to our left, a huge tifo of Eddie Howe, fist-clenching celebration, is making its way above the heads of the fans, across those heads, and away to our left in the corner. There's also another big flag to our right, almost in the corner. It's a Swedish flag, but there's no Isak. It has the name and the face of Anthony Elanga, Swedish international, on it. That's just a little message maybe to Alexander Isak, who I'm sure is watching tonight. You're listening to Kickoff Live on TalkSport with Ladbrokes, 18+ gambleaware.org. Some impressive banners. Troy Deeney, they are certainly letting Liverpool know they're here, Newcastle United.
Yeah, but it's not just the banners. This place is packed. Normally it's a couple of minutes before you've got people running in. This place is packed and has been for the last 25 minutes. Wonderful atmosphere. It's a great place to play your football. Had the privilege of playing here myself. These are the nights. This is the crowd. This is what you want to be. This is where else would you want to be, Abe? Monday night, doing the football. This is perfect.
We're 8 minutes before kickoff. It's absolutely at fever pitch already. I mean, if it's going to go up a few notches before the game starts, wow, it's going to be ear-splitting. I mean, this is the intensity that Eddie Howe wants to get from these supporters to try and allow the players to harness the atmosphere, really get into Liverpool tonight, try and intimidate them a little bit.
Yeah, it's also really key for the listener. Nobody's on the pitch yet.
Yeah.
All the players are still in the change
room. No one's out.
Yeah. So we'll get ramped up as soon as they appear. But it'll be a mix of noise. Obviously, the loudest noise will be in support of the home players in the black and white stripes, of course. But those away players will get some stickers. Well, they've done nothing wrong. But the fact is, Alexander Isak wants to join them. They want him as well. And to these Newcastle fans, understandably, Liverpool are the enemy. Just listen to the hat. It's so obvious that this Isak's transfer saga has whipped it up even more than normal.
Yeah, look, we knew it was going to be absolutely ferocious tonight, especially with all of that drama centering around Alexander Isak hanging in the air. But this is the crowd that turned Arsenal inside out ahead of that Carabao Cup second leg game. You and I were both here for that. And it was smothering. You were here as well.
I was just working TV, but I was here, thanks.
Okay, fine, whatever. Showing off.
By the way, this crowd ruined PSG
as well. That was another game that we were at. Were you that one? No. You don't do Champions League, no?
I'm in the basement there once.
But that was another night where the crowd almost took over. Yeah. And it feels like...
We're back live on TalkSport at St James Park. Apologies for that. No players have come out as yet. We're still waiting for the teams to come out. And yes, as they play Blitzkrieg Cup, the atmosphere has gone up just that little bit more as we await the teams coming out onto the pitch. And in terms of the game itself, yes, the atmosphere, you can talk about how brilliant it is, but player for player, Troy Deeney, no Isak makes a huge difference. Ekitike scoring goals for Liverpool makes a huge difference. We talked about the midfield being where it's going to be won and lost, and that's where Newcastle are very, very strong.
Yeah, I think it's the best midfield in the league. I think Chelsea would argue that they've probably got a really good one as well now, but just in terms of everyone complementing each other, knowing what they do, knowing their roles, and committing to the system, the game is going to be won and lost in that midfield battle. I have this feeling today, though, that we will see a red card. I feel like, can Newcastle players control their emotions? Can they keep hold of it? It's a really big atmosphere here. We can't underestimate just how emotional players will get with all these fan bases. Every time you make a tackle here, on those games that you spoke about just now, everyone is up for it. Whether it's a goal kick that it goes out for, or whether they win the ball and go forward, this place will get up. And I just think, if I was Liverpool, can I be cute? Can I try and get Verts on the ball, just in behind the back of these guys where they have to keep making little fouls, and then we just go to the referee. How many? And try and get somebody sent off, just to dampen this place, because it is electric.
9 red cards in the last 26 meetings.
Wow, that's some stat. That says Troy Deeney may well be right. Tonight, as the players make their way out of the tunnel just below our commentary position here for TalkSport onto the pitch, and the noise is sending shivers down the spine. The players line up around the grounds in the Carabao Cup second round tomorrow night on TalkSport. I'll be a few miles away in Sunderland. Stuart Pearce will be watching West Ham at Wolves. Scott Minto will be at Bournemouth. That's tomorrow night from 7 on TalkSport. But let's focus on tonight. Newcastle are the Carabao Cup holders. They beat Liverpool in the final. Alexander Isak scored what proved to be the winning goal. A striker striking is one of the big stories tonight, and Newcastle will be keen to make sure Isak's absence isn't the big deciding factor of the match. Newcastle United against Liverpool. It's a fixture with fire. It's live and exclusive on TalkSport with your commentary team. Celebrity SAS finalist Troy Deeney alongside Sam Matchday.
Live international football.
What a goal! Get in the ring. Go the distance. TalkSport 2.
And Fury's got it. A unanimous decision.
If you can kick it, hit it, bowl it, pass it, hot it, hot it, or catch it.
That's it. You'll find it right here on TalkSport 2. The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air.
Can they make it too?
TalkSport 2, because sport never stops.
We're sorry, this commentary is not available in your country. Please visit talksport.com/commentaries to hear an alternative stream or listen to TalkSport 2 for even more live sport.
TalkSport has so much sport, we're running out of radio to play it.
In fact, we've got enough rugby, cricket, horse racing, boxing, motor racing and golf for an entire other radio station.
And the thrilling games continue.
The prodigal son of all radio stations is on the air. TalkSport 2, because sport never stops.
There ain't no stopping them now.
Get set for more live sport, more incisive pundit comment and opinion, and more Andrew McKenna.
Thank you very much. That'll do.
Sport radio that hits you for 6. TalkSport 2.
For Liverpool, it's 2 changes from their 4-2 victory over Bournemouth on the opening. Jeremy Frimpong misses out for injury. Alexis McAllister is set to become a father for the first time, so he's out as well. In come Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch. The Premier League weekend will be rounded off by a huge match at St James's Park this evening as Newcastle entertain reigning champions Liverpool. The Magpies drew 0-0 at Aston Villa in their opener for this season, and Eddie Howe has named an unchanged starting 11. Still no Alexander Isak, of course. New signing Jacob Ramsey is amongst the substitutes. For Liverpool, it's 2 changes from their 4-2 victory over Bournemouth on the opening night. Jeremy Frimpong misses out for injury. Alexis McAllister is set to become a father for the first time, so he's out as well. In come Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch. Premier League weekend will be rounded off by a huge match at St James's Park this evening as Newcastle entertain reigning champions Liverpool. The Magpies drew 0-0 at Aston Villa in their opener for this season, and Eddie Howe has named an unchanged. Well, it's a very warm welcome along to our independent off-tube studio commentary of this big Monday night match in the Premier League between Newcastle United and Liverpool. Always a big fixture in any Premier League season, but there's extra bite on it this evening with the transfer speculation that continues to surround Newcastle striker Alexander Isak and his potential move to Liverpool before the transfer window closes next week. That's a debate for further down the line. We're focusing fully on matters on the pitch for this game. It's myself, Tom McGarry and Lewis Raftery that will be talking you through the full 90 minutes. And hopefully, Lewis, it promises to be a blockbuster contest. A really good atmosphere expected at St James's Park, and immediately inside the opening 45 seconds, Newcastle have broke forward and Anthony Elanga's won the game's first corner.
Yeah, it's just what you want, isn't it? A good start the horse. I can imagine the opening 10, 20 minutes or so, they're going to be all over Liverpool, and it's if can the defending champions almost weather the storm? I think apart from that, they'll do well, but corner here early on, you've got Burn up there, you've got Shaw, to be difficult for Liverpool to defend, might be in for an early opener.
Yeah, the atmosphere fantastic at St James's Park. If they score early doors with this first attack, then the roof will probably come off. Elanga, who won the corner, is going to take it, outswing it towards the front post. Not his best, easily headed away by Milos Kerkez. Liverpool scramble it up towards the halfway line, and they may get a free kick as well there. Indeed they do. Cody Gakpo just caught by Joe Linton, and then players from both teams just surrounding Simon Hooper, the referee. We do expect it to be quite feisty and fierce this evening. No surprise that Joe Linton's at the centre of things, but maybe something early for the referee to deal with.
Yeah, I think he'll be in for a busy evening. Joe Linton, he just going for ball, he catches Cody.
Eccoti lì, quello che... Ma che rigore è? Ma replay dopo replay, il rigore inesorabilmente...
Will say, rightfully so, I had my eyes on the ball. I wasn't looking at Cody Gakpo, and he's really caught him, so maybe the referee saying, look, maybe another time that's a yellow card, but I understand what you're going through, but it's, he'll be in for a busy evening with a lot of these players.
Yeah, experienced referee, and that certainly required, you would imagine, for this game. Newcastle, if you missed the team news ahead of kick-off, unchanged from the match against Aston Villa, 0-0 draw in their opening game of the Premier League season. The big news is, though, aside from Alexander Isak, of course, not being involved, is that Jacob Ramsey, their new signing from Villa, is amongst the substitutes. They've got Pope in goal, Trippier, Cher, Burn and Livramento, the back four. Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton in the middle of the park, with Elanga, Gordon and Barnes up front. Gordon playing that false nine kind of role, if you like. Liverpool, two changes for them from the opening night victory against Bournemouth, that fabulous 4-2 success. They're both enforced changes. Jeremy Frimpong is out injured until after the international break, and Alexis McAllister is not involved either. He is waiting the birth of his first child. So the two players to come in are Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch, the latter back from suspension. Alisson is in goal then for Liverpool. Szoboszlai, we think, will play at right back. Konate, Van Dijk and Kerkez at the back four. Jones and Gravenberch in the middle of the park. Salah, Wirtz and Gakpo supporting Ekitike up front. Hugo Ekitike, who of course could have been playing in this game for the home side, strongly linked with a move to Newcastle over the summer, but opted instead to join Liverpool. But 3.5 minutes into this game, frenetic pace so far, Lewis.
Yeah, it really is quite high tempo, high intensity. As you said, look at the fans. The atmosphere is absolutely bouncing in St James's Park, isn't it? And when we go away to Anfield for the second game between these two, it's going to be exactly the same. Liverpool, they've started decently well. They're not giving Newcastle anything, but it's been a lot of long balls for either side. They're not trying to play up from the back, trying to make a mistake early on. But I think Newcastle right now just like they have the edge. But maybe half an hour in, maybe it just calms down a little bit and Liverpool get a chance. They might have one now, though.
Yeah, trying to break forward down the left-hand side. Ekitike using his pace. Dan Burn comes across and clears, but the referee has pulled play back because there was a late challenge on the halfway line after the ball. Certainly, I was following the ball there and didn't quite see what happened. It's a Liverpool player down on the ground, and I think it will be a free kick on the halfway line. Just looking at the replay now, Florian Wirtz was the Liverpool player on the ball. It's Kieran Trippier just trying to block the ball, isn't he? His studs are up and he just catches the foot of Liverpool's club record signing.
Yeah, it's just one of them, isn't it? He's going for the ball. He puts his hands in, that's not a foul. It is a foul. He does catch the German late there. It's just one of them. It'd be a bit of a sore one. Actually, it might just take a few minutes to run it off, if you will, then they'll be back to. But that just shows the counter-attacking ability, doesn't it? Both sides are going to have it. The pace of the forward three of Newcastle, forward three of Liverpool as well. It's just can they get in, because both teams play a high line as well, so you might see a lot of space in behind.
Yeah, interesting stat from the opening weekend. The two players that were clocked the fastest times in the Premier League over the opening weekend were both of Newcastle, Anthony Elanga and Anthony Gordon. So that pace on the counter-attack, you would suspect, will trouble Liverpool at times. We're 5.5 minutes into this game. Newcastle United 0, Liverpool 0. I said Florian Wirtz is Liverpool's club record signer. We probably just need a little asterisk next to that in case the Alexander Isak deal does eventually go through. I think that's probably the last time I should say his name this evening, no, because all the talk is about him at the moment surrounding these two clubs, but he's not involved, as we know, this evening. So let's focus on matters on the field of play. As Liverpool have the ball, Cody Gakpo juggling with it in the middle of the park. He's challenged and the ball will divert back to Virgil van Dijk. The Liverpool keeper can just calm things down, go back towards his goalkeeper Alisson, who's being closed down by that pacey Anthony Gordon. Take one look towards Ekatike with a little bit of a wrestling match there with Kieran Trippier. And the decision is there'll be a Liverpool throwing on the far side again. Trippier not happy with the decision. Maybe he's been penalised for a foul. They were both grappling each other. Ekatike did end up on the floor, and so Kieran Trippier, I think he's up for this game. He can't afford to get involved in too many challenges like that.
No, he can't. No, and what you would say is Kieran Trippier is a great player. I'm not trying to knock him, but one thing he's probably lost over this is a little bit of pace, and he was never the paciest fullback to begin with. If you've got Gakpo and Ekatike on the left-hand side running at you, if you've got a yellow card, it's a really dangerous game to be playing, but you can't maybe leave a Liverpool. You can't. You have to be spot on with every tackle. Could be awkward, and another free kick here for Liverpool.
Yeah, Wirtz takes it short, and Kirk has now an opportunity to lift the ball into the penalty area, but it's a poor delivery straight onto the head. The biggest player out there, Dan Burn, not the most convincing header away though from him, and Liverpool can come again. Szoboszlai, that's a better ball into the box. Joe Linton will head clear this time for Newcastle. A break for Elanga, who nods it down to Bruno Guimaraes, who challenges for the ball. It'll ricochet kindly for Harvey Barnes, who tries to feed it out to Anthony Gordon. Neither team were ever really in control of proceedings there. There's a strong challenge on Bruno Guimaraes, an immediate apology from Ryan Gravenberch. He's going for the ball there, and he's just... Bruno Guimaraes has stepped across him and he's caught the Brazilian, the Newcastle midfielder, and Gravenberch, who's just back from a suspension, is the first player into the referee's notebook.
Yeah, he does really well, does the Newcastle skipper. It's just it's a late one, but like you said, Gravenberch from a moment ago, he goes, look, I got that wrong, that was late. It is kind of very soft when his knee gets caught, doesn't it? But the Brazilian midfielders, so he's an awkward one, but I think the referee said, look, lads, I'm going to yellow card, there's no need to get a bit more feisty, but first yellow card of the season already for Gravenberch, and it's already 8 minutes in, one yellow card. I don't think that'll be the last one this evening. We've already spoken about that.
Oh, absolutely not. I feel a little sorry for Gravenberch. It is a yellow card, but Bruno Guimaraes kind of steps across him, and he's initiated the contact in a lot of ways. But Gravenberch did dive in. It was a little bit reckless, which is why the referee did go to his pocket. It's a free kick then to Newcastle, 10 yards or so inside the Liverpool half. Trippier will. I thought he was going to stand it up towards the edge of the penalty area. He goes short to Tonali, changing the angle. He sent it in towards Dan Burn, who was beaten in the air by Virgil van Dijk, and it will skew out towards the far side for a Newcastle United throw-in. 8.5 minutes into the game, still goalless at St James's Park. No chances really to speak of so far, but it's keeping us on the edge of our seat. It's a very frenetic pace. Tetchy and feisty as you would expect as well, as Trippier and Elanga exchange passes down the right-hand side. Trippier's then attempted cross, hits Florian Wirtz, comes back off Kieran Trippier, who's had a very frustrating opening 9 minutes. It will be a Liverpool goal kick.
Yeah, he does. You put it right there. I think very frustrated for the Newcastle full-back there. He tried to get the better of Wirtz there with his pace. I don't think he's ever going to get past him, but that was a real battle that you're going to see throughout the rest of the evening, probably defending and attacking in both areas. Van Dijk up against Dan Burn there, and as yet, it's the first time I've probably seen a short free kick go the way of a team. Playing out from the back here, Liverpool, very dangerous there.
Alisson taking on Anthony Gordon about 2 yards out from his own goal. The Liverpool goalkeeper, he showed great composure, I suppose you have to say, and as he then eventually got it out to Szoboszlai, Liverpool played their way out from the back, but a big chance taken by Liverpool's number one, and I think just for a split second he'd had a heavy touch and he slightly panicked, but was able to recompose himself, and there was no harm done. This is the first meeting between these two sides since the EPL Cup final in March, when Newcastle, of course, first major trophy in 70 years, won by 2 goals to 1. Alexander Isak scoring the decisive goal, of course, in that game. I said I wasn't going to mention him again, but unavoidable in that situation. But Newcastle haven't actually beaten Liverpool in the Premier League for almost a decade now. December 2015, a 2-0 victory St James's Park. Can we just pan to Alan Shearer, It's Newcastle centre forward, of course, who knows all about putting the ball in the back of the net at this ground. Newcastle team have a throw-in on the halfway line with Kieran Trippier heavily involved so far in this game. He turns 35 next month, Trippier, as he sends the ball back towards Fabian Schär. The ball forward from the Swiss. Alanga will give chase, but too much on that. Easily run through to Alisson in the Liverpool goal. It's just settling down slightly after that frenetic start. Alisson taking plenty of time. Of course, we've got the 8-second rule now. The goalkeepers have to get rid of the ball when it's in their hands. He's just picked it up now after having it at his feet, and he will distribute this long up towards Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side. Liverpool targeting him because it's a bit of an aerial difference between Gakpo and Kieran Trippier. On the right-hand side of Newcastle's defence, Fabian Schär coming across on this occasion to help out the full-back, and it will be a Liverpool throw-in. 11.5 minutes in. Goalless, and yeah, as I say, just slowing down in terms of the tempo ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think as well, a lot of balls over the top of that one from Schär, as you said, into Alanga. A lot of passing into space, and the passes aren't really coming off at the moment. So you might wait for him maybe to calm down, a bit of short passing might help it out. But a long throw opportunity here for the Reds.
Yeah, Kerr goes into the box, Burn will head clear, it comes back out to Liverpool's new left-back, who sends another cross into the area. Again, Dan Burn gets his head to it first. It'll come to Anthony Gordon on the Newcastle left, who's under pressure, being forced backwards. He's twisting his turn, and he's looking for the contact from Fabian Wirtz. If it comes, free kick given. Newcastle take it quickly, and they look to break forward now. Bruno Guimaraes plays it through towards Anthony Alanga. Good starting position from Alisson outside his penalty area, reading the situation, and plays that sweeper keeper role to perfection.
I think that's the problem that they'll have is, I mean, you've already spoke about the stat of Alanga and Gordon. Yeah, they're going to be pacey in behind, but that pass is usually against 90%, 95% of goalkeepers, a top pass. There was too much on that because, as you said, Alisson, a great sweeper keeper, takes up a great position, and it's a poor pass in the end, unfortunately. But that just shows that would have been our first real big chance, and as you said, we're really waiting for that to get going.
Yeah, we are. It's bubbling up again now as Gakpo drives in from the left. Wirtz out to Ekitike, back in towards Gakpo. Will he be able to get there ahead of Trippier? No, Trippier shows great strength to hold off Cody Gakpo. Newcastle should be able to clear. Shadow, that's a poor clearance straight to Ekitike on the edge of the Newcastle box. Wirtz can now turn and curl left towards goal, and Nick Pope watching it all the way. Just looked a little bit uncomfortable there, the Newcastle goalkeeper. I might be doing him a disservice, but Florian Wirtz getting the first effort in anger towards goal.
Yeah, they were really poor out from Newcastle. A great defending from Trippier originally, and then they just didn't clear the lines. Poor pass from Schär, trying to almost play it out a little bit too fancy and nice. And as I said, he was trying to curl it, was Wirtz, but I didn't like the route on it. I thought maybe Pope would have caught it at least. I thought there wasn't much momentum or power on the ball, but maybe Pope thinking, right, this is better safe. Sorry, what you would say is, yeah, Liverpool are going to have their Canati, Ekitike, Van Dijk in there. Got off in the back of your mind, if you're at Liverpool, if Newcastle let us on the counter, we will be in danger.
Absolutely. I hope they've got some cover, Liverpool, in case there is a breakaway, but they've got plenty of aerial targets in there for Florian Wirtz to aim at with this corner. Poor delivery though. Alanga clears away at the front post. Gravenberch will pick up the pieces, and Liverpool will start to get on the halfway line with Dominic Szoboszlai. Filling in this hybrid right-back role, the receiving. He finds Curtis Jones, who stabs the ball forward. Poor ball low, and Livramento can now break up the field for Newcastle. He's stopped in his tracks by the backpedaling Ibrahima Konate. Tonali now for Newcastle, back to Schär. Now Trippier, right-hand side. This ball down the line. Bruno Guimaraes can slightly heavy first touch. That invites the challenge from Gakpo. Go out and play for a throw-in to Newcastle on the halfway line. Arne Slot patrolling the edge of his technical area. Pleased with his side performance against Bournemouth, certainly from an offensive point of view, although slightly concerned about how easy it was for the Cherries to cut them open, particularly in that second half at Anfield. Antoine Semenyo, Bournemouth winger, scoring a brace in that game. As Livramento coming forward for Newcastle, does well, links up with Bruno Guimaraes. He's 40 yards from goal, Livramento, but challenged by Gakpo. Newcastle can go again though down the right-hand side. Bruno Guimaraes out to Trippier, back to the Brazilian, who's in a crossing position. It's a poor ball though into the area. Gravenberch well positioned, can clear out of play for a throw. Newcastle though can keep the pressure on. Trippier takes a quick throw. Guimaraes will work the ball backwards towards Schär, and across now to Dan Burn inside the centre circle. Newcastle coming backwards to go forwards. Trippier All over the top. It's a good ball as well. Langer in behind towards the byline. Can he keep it in? He can. Tries to pull it back for Joe Linton. An important touch from Szoboszlai. Takes it away from the Brazilian. Liverpool struggling to clear their lines though. Gordon, edge of the box, steps away from the challenge of Szoboszlai. Gets there ahead of Gravenberch, and then was he fouled by Dominic Szoboszlai just outside the box? Yes, he was, says the referee. Free kick to Newcastle in a very dangerous area.
Really dangerous. It's a great opportunity for Newcastle. Very similar to how Guimaraes won the foul against Gravenberch. He said, very clever from Gordon. I think it is a foul against Szoboszlai. Just gets in front of him there. Maybe Szoboszlai a little bit too patient going in for it. Like I said, he's almost playing out of position a bit. That was a lovely thin ball over to Elanga. It was one of them where he was so close to the byline, he's probably thinking, I've got to get whatever I can across. He's got no time. As soon as he can't take a touch, he's just got to whip it in. It's a decent one, just doesn't really fall for Newcastle. And one thing they are doing with Gordon's that false nine, as he said, he really don't have that presence in the boxes. I'm not going to mention his name, the Swedish forward, we've already spoken about a few times. He was always there, wasn't he? It's very, very similar for Liverpool. You have Ekitike there. Liverpool have that, Newcastle don't. But this is a massive chance for the hosts.
Yeah, free kick just a yard outside the box on the left-hand side. Tonali just trying to lash that in with power, but he gets it all wrong. He sends it low, but behind everyone who was kind of situated between the penalty spot and the edge of the 6-yard box. It was a wild swing of the right boot from Sandro Tonali and a real waste in the end.
Real waste, yeah. You expect much better from the Italian there. As you said, sometimes you see him fizz him in, but almost fizz him into the back post, and maybe someone gets a nick on it. He does just fizz at him with his legs. He's into the penalty spot area, in the penalty box. Really poor from Tonali, because we know he can be much better as well taking set pieces. Really poor for Liverpool there.
Hugo Ekitike has just been penalised for a foul which he disagrees with. He did kick the ball away as well. I think one or two of the Newcastle players perhaps suggesting to the referee that should be a yellow card. Virgil van Dijk's out demonstrating with Simon Hooper as well. We've already mentioned the match official this evening is going to be in for a busy evening, and that's already transpiring. Newcastle have another set-piece situation. This one a lot deeper and a lot more central, so not a great angle for Kieran Trippier, standing over the ball to lift this directly in. They had a similar free kick 5 minutes or so ago that Trippier moved the angle to Tonali, who then crossed from a left-hand side, but Tonali's made his way towards the edge of the box. Now everyone in a black and white shirt is walking away from Kieran Trippier, so you'd imagine he's going to look to hang this up towards... Oh, he has gone short, because dropping in is Bruno Guimaraes, who managed to wheel his way past a couple of Liverpool defenders, but his ball into the area wasn't the best. But now there's another Newcastle free kick. This time it looks like Mo Salah has been penalised. He pleads his innocence, but another Newcastle set-piece opportunity.
Yeah, they're really good. They're all set pieces straight out of the training ground, aren't they? It's one of them where if Bruno Guimaraes gets that pass right a bit more on it, it's a good ball. It's just they're almost getting those passes, those second crosses, if you will. They're not really connecting with them so far. Dyke's not happy about this foul that you see there in the technical area. The fourth officials, he said that Simon Hooper's going to be in for an evening, and also the fourth official looks like he's going to be in for one with the two coaches, especially Arne Swanton, his coaching staff. I think if you're Eddie Howe, you're looking at, right, we've got to take advantage of this one. Just watching it back. The one thing I would say there is Salah's got his eyes on Livramento going in the back of him, which is never a good look. If Salah's got his eyes up in the air and knocks into Livramento, he'd say, well, I didn't do anything, I was eyes on ball. He had his eyes on Livramento, and he did shove him in the back. I'd have to agree with the referee there.
Yeah, I think that probably is a free kick. There's a few now that have been on the softer side, but it doesn't mean they're still not free kicks. And the referee can't think, well, I gave a slightly softer one earlier, and I'm gonna go the other way. You've got to give what he sees. So free kick to Newcastle. Again, it's central, but it's a bit closer to the penalty area. Only about 40 yards from Alisson's goal in total. At the 20-minute mark in this game, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 0. Barnes is in an interesting position on the left-hand side, waiting for the ball, but Trippier will lift this into the box, but too much on it. He's looking for Anthony Gordon, who's now pointing at Barnes, saying, why didn't you go out there? He was caught on his heels in the penalty area. As you say, Lewis, there's been a few off the training ground set pieces from Newcastle so far, but none of them have really worked.
No, they haven't.
Qual è il segreto dello sport? Mi son detta, è la forza, forse è la velocità.
Just having a word, it's Simon Hooper. You're right there, it's almost as soon as Trippier hit it, I think it was Gordon and Barnes, he said one moved and one didn't. I think they just got it completely wrong what they're supposed to do. And that sometimes you can maybe start overcomplicating set pieces.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with just getting the ball in the mixer from time to time. As Newcastle again coming forward, Joe Linton
releasing Barnes down the left-hand side, up against Szoboszlai. He's got Livramento in support, uses the full-back who gets to the byline. Can he pick out a cross? It's low into the area, looking for Anthony Gordon. Alisson well positioned though, gathers the loose ball.
Much better there from Newcastle. Great overlapping run from Livramento as well. What Szoboszlai will have up against him this evening is, first of all, he's got to deal with Harvey Barnes. You can see there a mile away that Verts his way out of position, because we saw this against Bournemouth. Salah almost just stays on the right hand side, doesn't he? That's what you want him to do. You don't want him to defend, you want him to come forward, as Alanga might have a chance here.
Yeah, Alanga just trying to get there ahead of Milos Kerkez, who slides in. Kerkez feels he got plenty of the ball. That decision has been upheld, but it looks like it will be a throw-in to Newcastle, who 20 more minutes on the clock. Liverpool have probably had the best effort towards goal. That Verts curler that was saved in an unorthodox fashion by Nick Pope. But you'd say Newcastle have had the majority of the play.
Yeah, I think as you said about the set pieces and wasting them, they're taking advantage of, as you said, just put one in the box, put a good delivery in there, and let your teammates do the rest. I think a good opportunity will have come out of it. And I will say, Newcastle definitely have the momentum for now, don't they? They seem like the side that you're almost been waiting for one chance. That was a great ball from Livramento, just so many bodies in the box. Alisson did well, Isak got in behind. It's almost like Newcastle are just upping their game, and Liverpool are getting a little bit lost right now.
Yeah, they are. They're struggling to get hold of the ball. The reigning Premier League champions, and they're giving away a lot of fouls. They've done so again, but the referee is playing an advantage because Tino Livramento brings the ball forward, finds Anthony Gordon, space for Trippier on the right hand side. It's a good ball, first time cross from Trippier. It was a bouncing ball towards him, difficult technique, and he gets the cross wrong. Alisson gathers now. Might be a break on for Liverpool because Fabian Schär's missed his challenge. Ekitike couldn't quite take it in his stride, and then his ball in the field is picked off by Bruno Guimaraes, and they'll start again. Newcastle in possession of the football, and the vast majority of St James's Park will be pleased with the way the home side have started this game. Tonali is out from the back. Livramento looking to whip the ball around the corner. He knew that Harvey Barnes was in space down the left-hand flank, but didn't get the whip on the ball he was looking for. But are we going back for yet another Liverpool infringement? Looks like it is going to be a Newcastle free kick.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that because the ball came over the top, and then our cameras just didn't. They picked it up, but we didn't go back to the referee. And that's a Bosley again on Livramento. So if it is, still waiting for confirmation if it is a free kick or not. That's his second foul now. So Bosley had the one earlier on Gordon. So the referee's probably looking at him as well as another option to in the book. I think he'll be up for a really, really difficult evening because he's got Gordon, he's got Barnes, he's got Livramento, and so far the Newcastle left-hand side have come out on top.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been the person I would have necessarily thought of to be the filling in right back, but he's doing that job this evening. Dominic Szoboszlai, the free kick into the box from Newcastle. Lots of pushing and shoving in. Ibrahim Konate ends up on the floor, but the ball bounces harmlessly through to Alisson, and once more Newcastle can't take full advantage of a set-piece situation. It is goalless then between Newcastle and Liverpool. We've gone beyond the midway point in this first half, so it gives me a good opportunity to hand you over to Lewis to take you through to the break.
Cheers, Tom. Yeah, really good first half of the first half. I think all we're missing is a few times, maybe a good few top-tier chances at St James's Park, as Tom just said, following Verts' effort, his curler that was saved by Pope. I think the best chance so far. Newcastle have a lot of chances in the final third, nothing that tested Alisson at all. Obviously Liverpool have got the ball just outside their own half, and Newcastle not letting them breathe at all, pressing really high up with Joe Linton here, and Barnes and Konate right inside their own corner flag. Back to Alisson, they'll just clear it along and get it away, get it out of a danger area. That's the way to beat the presses, just play over it. Joe Linton against Gravenberch, good tackle, he wins the ball, runs a Newcastle man. Out to Burn, he's still far up, plays it wide to Harvey Barnes, tries to put it through the legs of Szoboszlai, fails, Barnes up against Szoboszlai going into absolutely nowhere, back heel into Gravenberch. Now Newcastle have the ball, tempo's really been up, lovely ball from Salah into Ekitike, not the greatest of touches, and Newcastle come away with the ball. Gordon has it, turns against Konate brings his man down, and Newcastle have another free kick, and they're just piling up at the moment.
They are, and that's a sensational turn from Anthony Gordon. He's done Konate hook, line and sinker, and Ibrahim Konate is rightly going into the referee's notebook. Can't really have any complaints. Brilliant swivel from Gordon, and with the pace we know he's got, he probably would have been breaking away towards the penalty area, so Konate felt he had to tug him back and bring him down. It all stemmed from Hugo Ekitike giving the ball away, and he's done that a couple of times in this game. He's struggling to get involved, the Frenchman. He was superb in the Community Shield and in the match against Bournemouth on the opening night of the season, but they're struggling to get him involved. Mo Salah's not done much. You've got that forward four for Liverpool have been kept very quiet so far.
They have, as you said, Florian Wirtz had his curler on effort. Apart from that, very, very quiet. I think Liverpool have weathered the Newcastle storm, but I think Newcastle should have done better with the chances they've been given. Another free kick, taken shot, Trippier into Gordon, overlapping run from Alanga. It's a poor one. He'll float it into the back post, looking for Byrne and Joe Linton. Guimaraes back into a dangerous area, looking for Joe Linton. Cleared away by Gakpo. Tonali heads it wide to Alanga again. Might be a chance. He's forced to play it back. Trippier will pick it up, and Newcastle will get on the ball. 26 minutes on the clock, still goalless. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 0. Both will lump it long. Burns still up there, battle between himself and Van Dijk. The Liverpool skipper comes out on top. Gakpo into Jones, raises it across to Salah on the right hand side. It's a good ball, he's got space, might be a chance here for Liverpool. Forward comes Salah, ball in the box, looking for Wirtz. Poor pass, and Livramento comes away with it. Jones is going to press down Livramento on the right hand side, slows him down for a counter, but doesn't mean that Newcastle just get bodies back in places. That was a counter attacking opportunity, but as soon as you saw red jerseys flying forward, so were the black and white ones. Newcastle got bodies back at a high rate there, and you can see Liverpool have won the ball. In the midfield, it's just so congested.
There's no time on the ball for anyone, and it keeps swapping possession very quickly. Newcastle now looking to break forward down the left with Harvey Barnes.
Ball from Joe Linton into Barnes. He's got a one-on-one against Szoboszlai. Will he want to take his man on, put a ball into the box, look up for a teammate? So Livramento further inside. Goes back to once where it came from, into Barnes. He's got space. Will he whip one into the box? He does it. The back sticks is there. Go header just over the bar from Anthony Gordon. Lovely ball in from Barnes. What a curling effort. Gordon was there. It just went over the heads of both Canati and Van Dijk. It was Gordon up against, I think it's Kirkes. The one thing you'd say, I don't blame Gordon for going for the header. It fell for him. Then he's underneath it, almost heading up. Maybe if Alanga could have given him a shout, do you think there was a better opportunity, or would Kirkes have had that covered?
Yeah, I did think initially that it was going to come to Alanga free at the far post, but I think probably if Gordon doesn't go for it, Kirkes would have been able to cut it out. He's hanging in the air for such a long time. Anthony Gordon, he's just on the way down when he gets the ball, and he's not able to get the contact he was looking for. That's the best opportunity, though, that Newcastle have created so far.
Yeah, really good ball. They might have another chance here. Barnes into Gordon. Lovely flick from Gordon back into Barnes. Elanga on the right hand side. Bit of miscommunication, but still forward come Newcastle. Elanga fizzy there across the face of goal, looking for Gordon. He stabs at it, but Alisson is there. Alanga, we've already spoken about how fast he is. That was great pace, great ball in the box. At first I'm thinking that, well, there's going to be no one there, and Szoboszlai, Gordon on his blind side gets in there. Luckily for Szoboszlai, he just can't get enough power on it, and Alisson saves it.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball in from Alanga, but the movement's brilliant from Anthony Gordon. That was a centre forwards movement. As again, Newcastle down the right hand side, come forward, another header from Alanga, crossed by Gordon. This one goes wide, but yeah, Newcastle are up in the tempo once again, and Liverpool, the Premier League champions, let's not forget, are struggling to hang on in there.
They really are struggling so far, and Newcastle they've had so many half chances that the ball's into the box, and Alanga pulling them in so far, looking at shots 3-1 in favour of Newcastle. Nothing on target so far. I thought that Alanga ball into the box to Gordon, unless it came off of Szoboszlai, so that doesn't count as a shot on target would have been, but 60% possession as well to the hosts. Usually Liverpool, of course, are used to having possession or having most of it. You can see Alisson's taking his time here from a goal kick. Newcastle fans, they're not happy with that. Shooting time, Liverpool look good. Look, I'll just add it on any time wasted that we have here. It's a goal kick, but it's taken by Van Dijk into Alisson. They're almost trying to tease Newcastle into a press, and that's what Newcastle have done so well so far in this opening, closing in on half an hour. That press is well put on by Barnes, so it's forced to float it out to Gakpo, looking for, as you've already said, Tom, that battle between Gakpo and Trippier. He's always going to win, that is Gakpo. Successful pass in the final for 28-6. I think that just shows how much Newcastle have been in the final third, how little Liverpool have.
Yeah, possession 60% in Newcastle's favour as well. Is it 11 touches in the opposition box to 3 or something like that? So in most statistical areas, Newcastle are dominating, but it is still 0-0, and that'll be the slight frustration for Eddie Howe that his side have been on top for such a large period, but they've got nothing really to show for it.
Yeah, I think that would be the problem. I think you spun on there maybe if Gordon, as you said, unfortunately that header was in the air for so long. If that goes in the back and it's 1-0, I think that completely changes the game. Canate, Liverpool just looking to almost slow the game down. Newcastle just happy to sit back and let them have possession for a while. Goes out for a throw-in on the right-hand side. Just over 30 minutes in at St James's Park. I think it's been the games of almost chances, especially for the host Canate. Back to Alisson. The Newcastle press, it's not on, but you can just see the high pressure and really making it difficult. Alisson, he avoids that press by just going along to Ekitike, too much on it, and from goalkeeper to goalkeeper it goes into the arms of Nick Pope for Newcastle. Will he roll it out? Will he decide to go long? Both teams, what they're trying to do is, you don't want to play out from the back, but quite happy to just play the ball long and direct and beat that high press on either side of Canate. That's a poor pass. Tonali comes away with it. Now he's striding forward into the penalty area. Will he pick out a player? Picks out Gordon. Will it roll for Elanga? Alisson comes out and claims it there, but Canate, he got it all wrong. Against Bournemouth, we covered that. We thought he had quite a poor game. That was poor from him there. Might be a Liverpool attack now coming forward. Tonali obviously winning the ball and gaining a bit of space in midfield. Gakpo on the left-hand side. And he whip across and it goes into the area. Fizzes one across, deflected away off Trippier. Jones picks it up. There's options in the area, but Newcastle have packed it once again. Verts on the edge of the area. He'll go for a striker goal. Ekitike has it now. Jones so congested at the back, and Ekitike, poor ball. As you said, he struggled in this game. But that was, I think what Liverpool have got away with there is Tonali's not slow coach, but if that's maybe Elanga or Gordon who picked it up, they're away and getting a shot on target.
Yeah, absolutely. He just didn't quite have the legs to. He was holding off Canate, but Van Dijk coming across, he was very much aware of that Tonali, and he knew Anthony Gordon was inside, and because he was slightly panicked by Van Dijk coming across, he just plays it into the area he thinks Gordon's in rather than picking out the Newcastle centre forward this evening. It was behind him, almost came for Elanga and Barnes, who were both coming in at the far post as well, but Alisson quickly off his line to cover. As you say, though, it all came for the really poor giveaway by Ibrahima Canate. It was such a telegraph pass inside.
Yeah, you could just see it a mile away, couldn't you? It was really poor from the French defender. Liverpool have the ball back now, just inside Newcastle's half, and I think as we speak about that sometimes the game falls into a lull. You can see where Newcastle are. I'm going to sit back a little bit. We're going to make them work. We're not going to press as high when they have the ball. We're almost sitting and marking the passing lanes more than anything right now. The host, Van Dijk, just inside the Newcastle half at walking pace right now. Jones looking for options. Plays it back to Canate on the right hand side. We're looking to use that width. The width is on with Salah on the right hand side. Szoboszlai is playing as a right back, as we've already spoke about. He's very central when Liverpool have the ball, and Newcastle make it really difficult. They're just sitting in a real compact shape and asking Liverpool, right, try and play for us. And as soon as it goes into a player of Verts or Salah, that's when we're going to press you. Gravenberch, ball into Verts, good touch, sprays it out to Salah on the right hand side. Can he find a teammate? Back into Szoboszlai, takes a touch, floats it into the back sticks, floats it even further wide than that, and it's out of play. Hey, Liverpool, they just look a little bit, not off it, but I don't know if it's the atmosphere, I don't know if it's the game, but they just look like they're ticking as sharp as they were a week ago.
No, absolutely. It's just not quite happening for them in the final third, where they were so good against Bournemouth. And we've already mentioned there's like troubles defensively, although they're coming forward now with Curtis Jones.
Jones on the left hand side of there, he's had a foul. The referee's played advantage. Gravenberch has space. Will he go to pull the trigger? He will, and Gravenberch has given Liverpool the lead on the 35th minute mark. Fantastic strike outside the area. No one closed him down. It beat Nick Pope. He was stood as still as a statue on the line, right just inside the post. Fantastic strike there. Although we've said Liverpool, they haven't been as good as they have been, and they've been poor offensively coming forward. They're creating chances. When you have someone who can do that and just hit a strike as clean as Gravenberch did there, sometimes all you need is that one chance and he takes it. Liverpool won, Newcastle nil.
Yeah, well, where on earth did that come from? Because, you know what, Liverpool have been second best for the majority of the opening 35 minutes. It's worked back by Gakpo to Gravenberch. He's, 20 plus yards out, and no one really closes him down. Bruno Guimaraes is a bit of a token effort from him, but it's a good hit from Gravenberch. He's given Nick Pope the eyes, but the decisive part of the shot is it just flicks off the outstretched boot of Fabian Schär, which completely means that Pope's got no chance. It just angles in, kisses the post on its way into the back of the net. I'm not 100% sure if Pope was getting there anyway, because he had been, wrong-footed, not expecting to Gravenberch to go towards the near post, but the touch from Schär completely takes the goalkeeper out of the game.
Yeah, first, as you said, fair play to Gravenberch, really good effort, see the confidence. That's why Arne missed him last week. He can do absolutely everything in the middle of the field, or as an attacking midfielder, as a defensive midfielder. He can do that. Liverpool now, they've got a pep in the step. Salah, that's a poor ball, looking for Wirtz. Burn cuts it out, looks to clear it away. Poor clearance back into the Liverpool goal scorer Gravenberch, into Szoboszlai. I think Liverpool now will think, right, well, it's up to us to control this game. So a 36 minutes play. It's independent of due to your commentary. Newcastle hosting Liverpool, and Liverpool who lead 1-0 thanks to Ryan Gravenberch strike just a few minutes or so ago. Less than 10 minutes to go until it is half time. It was a spicy opening 10 or 15 minutes. A couple of yellow cards going the way of Kanate and the goal scorer Gravenberch. Not yet for Newcastle. Alisson has it on the edge of his penalty area. Poor pass out. Burn will win it. Wants to play it into Tonali, but the pass was poor, and Liverpool have the ball back. And I think almost now Liverpool will be saying, right, you've got to come at us, we've got a lead to not hold, they're not going to sit back, but now the Newcastle push out a little bit further forward and give Liverpool space. And TK looking to come forward. Pope will let it run out of play, left the boot to the way poor play in the end. Now it's almost Liverpool, look at Newcastle, well, right, you've got to attack us now, you need to go.
Yeah, it's what Liverpool want. They want Newcastle now to have to throw some more bodies forward, and they can play more of their counter-attacking style and show the threat they have with the pace on the breakaway. Yeah, I mean, it's completely against the run of play, really, that Liverpool got that goal through Gravenberch. But you mentioned the individual quality. When you've got that in abundance, even if you're not playing that well and you are second best overall, you've always got that moment or option to create something from nothing.
Yeah, 100%. It's a battle in the middle between Guimaraes and Wirtz. The Newcastle skipper comes out on top, tries to play ball into Elanga. Elanga might have got there, if I'm quite honest, in a race against Kirkhead, but it does bobble into the penalty area, so Alisson comes away with it. He plays it out to Gravenberch, and you see Liverpool now with a lot more confidence. That's poor though from Wirtz. Tonali on the edge of the area. Will he go for a striker goal? He tries to play it back into the box. I think he should have pulled the trigger there. Elanga picks it up though on the right hand side. Will he look to whip one in? Yes, he does at the back post. Gordon is there, but Szoboszlai heads it wide for a corner. As soon as Liverpool are getting comfortable, poor pass from Wirtz.
Yeah, he's kind of hit his standing leg and played his team into all kinds of trouble. And the first opportunity, Tonali's edge of the box for me has to be hitting that. He's trying to slide it into Gordon when there's 3 or 4 Liverpool defenders in his way. It breaks out to Elanga, great ball into the box. And again, if there's a natural centre forward in there challenging Dominic Szoboszlai, I think it would have been a real chance for Newcastle. But Gordon just on his heels, not necessarily fancying the aerial battle there, meant it was a pretty comfortable header behind.
See pictures of ref cam on our broadcast. Having a word with Mo Salah. Will be a Newcastle call. Looks like Trippier will be the man to take his bird on Salah. I think that's what Salah's maybe having a word with the referee, Simon Hooper. Will float it into the back six, looking for Bird. He heads it wide of the target. I think almost he's probably trying to head it back into the back sticks, and then someone's there. It just fell awkwardly for Burn, but I'm sure that was very similar in the cup final, wasn't it? It was Burn against Salah, and he headed in for a goal. Just watching it back as well. I think you're right. It takes the slightest of touches off of Schär's right ankle. It wrong foots Pope even more, but I don't think he probably gets that even with that nick off the Newcastle defender.
No, it's a minor nick. It sent it into the corner, but as you say, I think there was a bit of wiggle room for Gravenberch finding that kind of area of the net, because Pope was expecting the curler, and he was flat-footed and never quite looked like he was going to get there as Liverpool to break forward again.
Wirtz on the ball, good tackle by Trippier. Now Newcastle, can they find space to come forward? Joe Linton, it's a heavy pass into Gordon, but it does well to get it. An even heavier pass from the makeshift Newcastle centre forward. Even tries to play out to Barnes, not enough on it. 40 minutes on the clock. It's Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. And do you think Newcastle are just, at least in the back in this first half, just almost, not fatigue, but maybe tiredness from what they've put into the first 40 minutes is showing there.
I think they're trying to do everything too quick in the final third. I mean, there's so many pasty players up there, but someone just needs to relax on the ball, whether it's Bruno Guimaraes in the middle of the park. He's been heavy-handed when he's had some passing opportunities. It's just taking that breath when you get into those areas and making the right decision. It's not quite been there from Newcastle.
Yeah, I have to say, usually they are quite... but they almost take the time a little bit more and make the right decision. I have to agree with Tom. It's just almost taking a touch right go instead of maybe taking a touch, getting your head up and going. It's been a little bit different so far for Newcastle. I mean, they've had half chances, as I've said. They haven't had a real standout chance that I'd look at and say they should have scored that. The Gordon one, as you said, maybe an out-and-out number 9 does score that. You would have to say that is something that would be said, but that's not what they have on the field this evening. Alisson inside his own penalty area once again goes wide to Gakpo. Trippier misses it and it's a good touch by Gakpo. He's flying forward into the edge of the area, plays it into Salah. He dinks it back into the box, looking for Jones, and it nearly runs for Ekitike. Lovely play there from Liverpool. Lovely first time ball in from Salah. He just hits it into the area. That's the first time they've done that maybe 5 or 6 times. That ball out to Gakpo, Trippier's area. Gakpo this time wins it because it's poor play from Trippier. That was a lovely Liverpool counter.
It really was, and yes, a brilliant ball in from Salah. I don't know, Curtis Jones just go with the wrong foot there. He's trying to get it with his right. If he lets it come across onto his left, he can just guide that in, and because he misses the ball altogether, it kind of catches Ekitike on his heels at the far post. You can see Salah's frustration now when Jones missed the connection, but it was a really good breakaway from Liverpool.
Well, I say, first time you've said it already, the height difference. Gakpo's always going to win that. He hasn't always won that. You would expect him to, though. But that's the first time that Liverpool have really got some attacking output from it. Burns sprays it out to Barnes on the left-hand side. Good first touch into Livramento, who was underlapping. Has space, and he'll come back inside to Joe Linton. It's a slow pass and slows the tempo down. Tonali, that's a good ball to the left to Barnes. 1-on-1 against the Bosler. Heads up and looking for a teammate. Tonali looks to fizz it in. Barnes apologies, and then last off of the Newcastle forward, out for a goal kick. Again, it's good, but what I would say, I think Liverpool have responded well. So Bosler the first 10 or 15 minutes, I thought it was really shaky at right back. I thought Barnes and Livramento, they really had his number, but he's almost stood up to the task, and so have the rest of the Liverpool side.
Yeah, he defended well there, Szoboszlai, against Barnes. Didn't dive in, and in the end got the challenge in and was able to get the decision of the goal kick as well. So he's settled in. Again, I just think there's just a little bit too much frenzy from Newcastle. There's a lot of emotion and atmosphere this evening, and I wonder if they're just letting that get the better of them slightly when they get into those kind of areas. Something Trippier when he missed that header before and it led to the Liverpool chance. They're just a bit too eager at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I'd have to agree with that. It looks like Liverpool have almost such an experienced side. They've been there, done that. Now they might have an attack that doesn't fall for Jones. Play it out to Guimaraes. Will he get there? Yes, he will. And now there might be a counter on the space. Tries to play it out to the left-hand side to Barnes. It's a decent ball. Forces a heavy touch out of Barnes. Now there might be a little bit of space. Good pass into the underlapping Livramento. Jones gets back though, and a good tackle and a good interception there. And he'll just clear his lines out of the Liverpool penalty area. Heads back to Ekitike. He's had a late tackle from Barnes on Salah. No, it's not, but Salah still comes away with the ball. 2-on-1. Straight back up though, the Egyptian with the attack on, but again he's at emotion of right, I've got to get my foot in here, I've got a yellow card now.
Yeah, he's basically toe-bumped Danber's basically toe-bumped Mo Salah on the side of the shin. He then dives in and fouls him again at the end of that move as well, so he's just got to calm himself down slightly as well. Danber, definitely yellow card. Surprising thing, probably that's the first Newcastle player booked this evening.
There's been a few fouls by Newcastle players, so I'm surprised as Tommy's that that's the first one. Liverpool get us back underway. And that from the back with Van Dijk. That's a late one from Gordon on Virgil van Dijk. That might be the second one coming. Yes, it is. It's a bit of a square between Gordon and Kirkes. As Van Dijk's back to his feet. Guimaraes with a push. Everyone's getting involved. You're all waiting for this to happen. Van Dijk's just saying, right, yeah, it's the other card, right, you know that. Was a late one from Gordon. He was pressing him down, and I think if anything, Van Dijk was almost just enticing into that foul by waiting to boot it away, and it was a late tackle by Gordon. And again, I suppose as soon as we get one Newcastle player in the book, we get a second.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a definite yellow card. We're going to see the replay again. I don't think it quite necessarily needs the reaction of everyone. Kirk, as it was, who jumped in on Gordon. Oh, actually, that's not a good challenge, is it? He goes jumping in, Anthony Gordon. He rakes down the back of the calf of Virgil van Dijk standing right leg. That would be a painful one. And yeah, second view, you can see why one or two of the Liverpool players were incensed, and VAR is having a look at this. Anthony Gordon could be in trouble.
It could be. There is a, as Tom said, there is a VAR check on. I don't think it is a red personally, but it is, as you said, a very sore one. The referee, I believe, is going to go to the monitor. He's given a yellow card on the field of play, and now yes, he is going to go to monitor. What I will say, I don't think it's a red card. I think it's a clumsy tackle. It's a dangerous tackle. Do I think it's a red person? No, I don't. I think it's a yellow card. It's a high yellow card. But when the referee goes to the monitor, never a good look for what he's given on the field, if you will.
No, I think this is bad news for Anthony Gordon. He's diving in. I mean, I don't know how much the intent is there. Does that matter in the eyes of the officials? This angle we're looking at now from the close-up doesn't look good for Anthony Gordon. It's one of those, if he'd given a red card on field, Simon Hooper, I don't think VAR would overturn it. I am, like you, really slightly surprised that he's been asked to look at this, and he's having a good long look as well. The referee wants to get it right. We said he was always going to be in for a busy evening, and so it's proved. It's a hugely important decision right on the stroke of half time.
This could be the real change, or maybe if Newcastle keep with 11 men, it could be a difference maker. Of course, referee now does explain his decision, so we don't get to hear that. It is independent of Tube Studio commentary of this Premier League clash this Monday evening, so we're just waiting for his decision. Anthony Gordon has been yellow carded, and now it's just what will the referee give after looking at the VAR. I'm no lip reader, so I don't have a clue what Simon Hooper is saying to the St James's Park faithful, but I believe, there we go, yes, so he's rescinded the yellow card, but it is a red card. So just on the half-time whistle, got 2 minutes of added time. We've played 2.5 minutes of that, so it's need another 2 to go. Anthony Gordon has been given his marching orders, and it goes from worse to worse for Newcastle. Down a goal, down a man.
Yeah, no complaints from Anthony Gordon. The man who's filling in at centre forward is often facing a ban. Back to the Alexander Isak shaped hole in this Newcastle team. The fact that they're really struggling to buy a centre forward. I think Jorgen Strand Larsen, they made a bid for him today, the man at Wolves, and that was rejected. They need a centre forward, and this, with Gordon now facing a ban, is going to exacerbate things further. Never mind what it means with Newcastle being down to 10 men for the remainder of this game.
You have to say, like, it's one of them where, if, as everyone says, if there was an orange card, that would be an orange card, but it's very much on the prefaces of a red, but I do think it is quite hard for it to be a red card. Look, it is dangerous play, so if that's what you want to look at it, I understand if that's a red card for you, but now I think if you're Newcastle, you're looking with these last 2 minutes to just keep it at 1-0, and I think if you're Newcastle, there's a ball forward to get, but he fouls should be I mean, if you're out at half time, do you change anything? Do you change your formation? Do you bring a substitute on, or how do you play? Because you said, I think right now you're spot on. Emotions are running a little wild right now.
They are, and that contributed to that challenge. I probably think on the balance it is more of a red than a yellow. It's a borderline decision either way, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just becomes a bit of a narrow 2 with Alanga and Barnes up there. They've got Willasula on the bench, who is a centre forward that could come on at some point, but then who do you sacrifice in that situation? Is a real penny for any house thoughts.
Pope will take the free kick just outside the penalty area. Long ball forward. Van Dijk peeps the highest and comes away with it. Back to Burn, who heads it forward. Joe Linton has had a foul on Gravenberch. No, it's not, but Liverpool, if anything, if I'm Arne slow, I'm not trying to get into half time. I'm trying to maybe get a second goal before half time to really push the pace on this Newcastle side. I think you're all right, Tom. Right now, it is looking like that's still some midfield free, and for Joe Linton, Guimaraes and Tenalis in deeper, and then Barnes and Elanga as the front two, and I can only assume that Trippier and Livramento will add that width and attacking flavour. Newcastle are probably just going, right, let's get into half time at 1-0 and let's sort it out from there. 5 minutes have been played. We did only have 2 minutes of added time, but of course a good 2.5, maybe 3 minutes of that time was taken up by decision by the referee to give Anthony Gordon a yellow card and then go to VAR and rescind that and give Gordon his marching orders. Simon Hooper, I think all eyes are on him, and both teams have been quite happy for the half-time whistle to blow any second. Now Liverpool will take the lead into it, and Newcastle can almost rebuild and change things that half-time. Kirkes, the ball slides just inside his own half, looks to play it out to Salah. It's a great ball into the Egyptian on the right hand side, just into the area, flicks it into the box. Jolinton, good interception. Burn clears it away. But that is all we have for the first half. What an entertaining, what a feisty first 45 minutes at St James's Park. Liverpool took the lead from Gravenberch on the 36-minute mark. Then in stoppage time, Anthony Gordon was given a yellow card. VAR intervened. Referee Simon Hooper overturned it and gave a red card. Half time at St James's Park. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the
bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half, without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out, deflecting in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner. And then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner, and then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon initially booked for a foul on Virgil van Dijk. That was upgraded by VAR to a red card. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. At the break, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Newcastle were the better side for the majority of that first half without creating an awful lot, but Liverpool took the lead against the run of play on 35 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch's effort from 20 yards out deflected in off Fabian Schär into the bottom corner, and then on the stroke of half-time, things got worse for Newcastle. Anthony...
Well, it's a very warm welcome back to our independent off-tube studio commentary of this Monday Night Football taking place at St James's Park. It's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1 heading into the second half. Ryan Gravenberch's deflected goal against the run of play has given Liverpool the lead. Newcastle down to 10 men, as well as Liverpool immediately at the start of this second half. They strike towards goal and they've doubled their advantage inside the opening 20 seconds. Cody Gakpo had the initial effort that was blocked. It came back to Hugo Ekitike, who was barely involved in the opening 45 minutes, but the man who reportedly turned Newcastle down to join Liverpool this summer, well, wouldn't you just know it, he's the man that's doubled their lead.
30 seconds in, you can see Eddie Howe absolutely shocked with that start. I know it's your cliche, but I can only imagine they've probably got a half-time right. Let's not concede another one early on. Well, you can't concede them much earlier than 30 seconds, and it was poor defending as soon as Liverpool won the ball. Gakpo giving way too much space. He blocked it, bubbled back off of Guimaraes. Lovely pass into Ekitike to get his head up from the Dutchman, and he passes it into the corner off the post. Nothing Pope could do. But if you're Newcastle, you're thinking, right, how is Ekitike on the edge of the area, had that much space, that much time? Burns there, Schär's there, Joelinton's there. And if they already didn't have a mountain to climb with a goal down and a man down, 2-0 down, and you've got the entire second half to go, if you knew Arne Slot wasn't even out in the dugout, we'd just seen by the time the goal got in. What a nice little surprise for the Liverpool boss there. If you're Eddie Howe, you're thinking, right, how do we manage this? It's going to be a tough 45, but for us, hopefully an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hugo Ekitike, 3 goals in 3 games now as a Liverpool player. He scored in the Community Shield. He scored the opener against Bournemouth last weekend. Now he's on the score sheet at St James's Park. Just as many Newcastle fans would have hoped he would be this season, but from the other team, the wrong.
Sono Maria e mi godo la pensione. 6 mesi fa però ho avuto una forte infezione gastrointestinale e da allora diarrea, mal di pancia, gonfiore. La mia salvezza? Kijimea Pro. Ora i disturbi intestinali sono come spariti.
Kijimea, dalla ricerca per la tua salute.
That annoyed and frustrated. That shows the emotion, isn't it? Because I think another time, I know he's a very emotional player, but I was maybe go to the ref and go, come on, that's a push, you've got to have seen that, that's what I think. Instead, he's very over the top in how he's saying to the ref, that's a push, and he's not in the referee's face, but to a degree, he's right up in there, isn't he? Watching it back, I have to agree with Guimaraes. I think Kanati's got away with one there.
Yeah, I can only presume it was on the blind side of the referee, and he couldn't quite see it, but yeah, it certainly looked like a clear push from Konate, and he was the last man, as there's now a foul at the other end of the pitch. Kieran Trippier judged to have clipped the heels of Cody Gakpo. 3 minutes into this second half, Sandro Tonali not happy with Hugo Ekitike, who I think might have, not sure he's thrown the ball away or what there, but he's clearly incensed at a couple of the Newcastle players. But free kick, and as we mentioned in the first half, and as it panned out, Simon Hooper, the referee, was always going to be in for a very busy evening at St James's, and so it has proved, and he might have a lot more work to do, the official, between now and the final whistle, as he gives, looks like, Kieran Trippier his last warning before he may enter the referee's notebook. But Liverpool free kick on the left-hand side, more defending for Newcastle to do. Florian Wirtz standing over this. The German international will look to lift this one towards the far post where Virgil van Dijk is waiting. He nods it down. Burn, though, will clear for Newcastle, only as far as Szoboszlai, who finds the score of the game's opening goal. Ryan Gravenberch, now
Mo Salah, who's been pretty quiet this evening out on that right touchline for Liverpool. Gravenberch again. Back to Szoboszlai, who will just return it to the Dutchman, and happy just to retain the ball, trying to push Newcastle out of their shell. Still that 4-3-2 formation from Newcastle, the 10 men. Langer and Barnes playing centrally, but neither as a real centre forward. Again, Gravenberch is going to get plenty of time on the ball, you'd imagine, these kind of situations. Invites Kanate forward. Now Szoboszlai. Got Salah outside him. Finds the Egyptian, who returns it to Szoboszlai. Nice little give and go. Szoboszlai's crossing to the box, but players in red are all caught on their heels. Nobody gambling, and it was a simple clearance away for Shah.
Yeah, nobody was busting the gut to get in there as well. Ekitike, the out-and-out centre forward, if you will, he was on the edge of the area. It was Verts and Jones were the two players in the area. That's what Ekitike brings you. He's got you a goal with how he finished, but he's not always going to be in there as that poacher of a goal scorer, is he? We watched him against Bournemouth, he linked up play fantastically well, but he's not going to be that guy who's going to be in there and scoring those easy tap-ins of the goals, and that's where maybe someone, another player would be doing that. Ekitike is not going to do that, unfortunately, for Liverpool, but he's already got the goal. I think he said that for Liverpool, it's almost 40 plus minutes, but it's just got to be professional performance from out here.
Yeah, it does. Arne Slot will want his side to see this out. Yes, score maybe a couple more goals, but I think more importantly from a Liverpool point of view would be to keep a clean sheet, because taking into account the back end of last season, they haven't had many of those of late. Conceded 2 against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield, 2 again against Bournemouth last weekend at Anfield. Not in any at the moment in this game, as Gakpo's crossed into the box, headed away by Tonali. From Newcastle's perspective, they just need to try and hang on in there. They're not completely out of the game at 2-0, although it is a long, long road back with 10 men, but 3-0, and it would be game that set a match in Liverpool's favour, as Salah plays it into Ekitike. Roll back to Szoboszlai. Confidence and a bit of swagger about Liverpool now, although as I say that, Szoboszlai's intended crossfield pass to Gakpo was behind the intended target, and it will go on play for a Newcastle throw. 6 minutes into the second half, Newcastle 0, Liverpool 2. Bruno Guimaraes battling for the ball, never really had it under control. Almost broke through to Harvey Barnes, but Alisson comes out to the edge of his penalty area and clears. Trippier now for Newcastle on the halfway line, ball down the channel. Langer gives chase, Kirkes gets there first. Curtis Jones now for Liverpool. Ball not the best pass into Gravenberch, biting at his heels is Guimaraes, who brings him down. He has to be careful, the Newcastle captain, on a yellow card. Referee happy to play on for now. Szoboszlai out to Salah on the Liverpool right, up against Tino Livramento, taking him on, twisting, turning into the penalty area. Finds Ekitike. He spins. Verts, edge of the box. It'll ricochet back to Ekitike. He's got a lot of Newcastle players around him, and Guimaraes, one of those, picks his pockets. Newcastle can look to bring their way out from the back, and in fact they'll get a free kick which just alleviates the pressure.
Yeah, I think that was good play from Ekitike, what was given, and there's been a bit of punches and shoves once again. Joelinton's having words, that doesn't surprise me with the referee, but just quickly back to Guimaraes, he's spot on. He's on a yellow card. It was a silly yellow card in the sense it wasn't a foul, was it? It was having words with the referee. So maybe, I don't think it was a foul, but it was a bit of a build-up problem, wasn't it? There, and you just look at it and say, okay, right, Newcastle, you're right. Play it by, maybe we'll get a goal before the 75th minute, could we then push on in the last few minutes, get an equaliser? In hindsight, a 2-1 defeat at home to the champions, with a man down for 45 minutes, isn't the worst result in the world. But if you lose your head and you end up another 2 men sent off with Guimaraes, and then you end up maybe losing 4 or 5-0, then that's when it becomes really awkward. And Tonali might be a little bother here. He's holding his shoulder as if maybe he's fallen on it awkwardly.
Yeah, he's not moving it at all comfortably, and seems to be in a degree of pain there. The Italy international. No sign of the Newcastle trainer coming on as of yet to see if he's all right. But this would be another blow for Newcastle. I think you're right though. It's playing almost damage limitation at the moment, but with a nod to Vicky, we could still get back into this at some point. They're not just batting down the hatches and trying to get out of losing 2-0. They still want to get something from the game, but they need to be sensible about it and bide their time. We're looking back at the big decision really in the game so far, sending off for Anthony Gordon on the stroke of half time. We saw the damage he did to the back of Virgil van Dijk's calf. Really have too many complaints. It's a borderline one, but the more you see it, the more the studs down the back of the calf, you can certainly understand why VAR advised the referee over to the monitor and why then Simon Hooper did brandish the red card, but we just had a delay as Newcastle doctor has now come on and he's just feeling that shoulder area for Sandro Tonali. Newcastle's bench, I mentioned Will Asula's on there as an attack-minded option. Lewis Miley's probably the most likely replacement, or maybe Joe Willock, who's just back from injury. They're the two like-for-like alterations, but depends how Eddie Howe wants to go with this. He'll be hoping that Sandro Tonali can carry on, but he's moving that left shoulder very, very gingerly.
Yeah, he looks really awkward. We're going to see it back now. Him and Ekitike and Kamara's were battling, and then it's a grab and a push from Ekitike off the ball to Tonali, and Tonali goes down and he lands really awkward on his left shoulder, doesn't he? All his weight on it. So I don't know if it's maybe a collarbone issue. I don't know if it's the shoulder, not the rotator cuff area. But as you said, it looks really awkward, and I would be surprised if he continues, just because he'll be really awkward for him. But right now, Newcastle down to 9.
Yeah, it's a concern. That'll certainly be very stiff in the morning, you'd imagine, for Tonali, but he's just in discussions on the sidelines with the Newcastle doctor. Play does resume. 9-man Newcastle. Nick Pope sending the ball long. The head of a Liverpool player now to play for a throw. Newcastle will be probably just trying to slow this down temporarily to either see Tonali get back on the field and get back up to 10 men, or if there's a substitution going to be made, get it done pretty quickly. Livramento has ball in hand. The throw-in midway inside Liverpool's half. Livramento just gaining a couple of yards as he works his way down the pitch, and Tonali is now being signalled back on by the referee, so he's going to give it a go. Sandro Tonali, maybe it's just a slightly sore arm bruise, but I don't know if he's not dislocated it or anything like that, which would have been a bit of a concern, as Menta now has got this thrown a bit further down the field than the last one. It looks like he's going to try and hurl this into the penalty area. Dan Burn, Joe Linton positioned on the corner of the 6-yard box with the intended targets as Livramento aims it in that direction over the head of Joe Linton. Headed away by Gravenberch, back to Livramento, cross into the box. Bruno Guimaraes challenges for it, and Newcastle are right back in this game, and it is their captain who has scored the goal. He celebrates emphatically. Bruno Guimaraes coming in at the far post, and I don't know how he got that much power on the header, but he managed to beat Alisson.
Great header there, but you're right about Newcastle. Now they've just kept themselves in the game, haven't they? Now you've got half an hour plus, and momentum is in your side. I know they're down, man, but if anything, that atmosphere at St James's Park, that can be a difference maker. It's a lovely ball in from Livramento there at the back stick, so he just wants it more than Kirk's eyes. If Kirk's turns his back on him, it's a lovely cross. It beats, watching Van Dijk second artist, it beats Gakpo and Guimaraes. Again, I just think he wants it more. Kirk's he's got his back there, and he's just too easy, if I'm quite honest. It's just Guimaraes gone, I want this ball, right, not out on me, he's not pushed it, but he's just got it, bang, great header. And like I said, great power. I think Alisson's done well to do what he did with it and get a hand on it almost, and they still trickled in the back of the net. Now game is on.
Yeah, that's really poor from Kirkes, isn't it? He just turns his back on the challenge, doesn't attempt to jump for the ball, almost just makes a back that Bruno Guimaraes can jump onto and get some more height and better contact on the header, which is exactly what happened. He's given away another free kick now, Newcastle's captain. Again, he has to keep those emotions in check. You saw how worked up he was when he scored the goal there, the celebration afterwards. He just needs to calm himself down, and maybe Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall on the sideline just need to have a word with Bruno Guimaraes. Does play with his heart on his sleeve, but needs to keep that in check with Newcastle already down to 10 men after that sending off of Anthony Gordon on the stroke of half-time. Liverpool scored either side of that sending off and either side of the break to go 2-0 up, but that goal from Guimaraes has half the deficit. It's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. We're ticking down towards the hour mark in this contest, the second Monday Night Football of the Premier League season. Nick Pope bowling the ball out there for Newcastle. Cher will send a long ball over the top. Barnes gives chase, putting pressure on Kanate, who stands his ground, nods it down to Van Dijk, gets it back from Wirtz. Tonali there into the back of Florian Wirtz, clear free kick, and you can see Sandro Tonali again just grabbing that left shoulder. I think he is okay to continue, but he's certainly going to be in a bit of pain afterwards.
Oh, you were right earlier as soon as you said that. It's going to be very sore in the morning, and I can imagine it will. Just watching the goal back, and Alisson nearly claws it out, but he just can't get there. And you can see what it meant to Guimaraes. He loves a good 4 or 5 celebrations in one, doesn't he? And he's so emotional with it. You can see Eddie Howe there. You can see how St James's Park almost erupted with it as well. I think if you're anything, if I'm Bruno Gamara, I'm also saying, right, I'm on a yellow card, I need someone like Joe Linton to jump in and help me with this cause, because I can't do much more because I'm on that yellow card.
Yeah, he's put a good ball forward there though. Grimares to find Barnes. Only got a Langer in advance of him, but Tonali is making ground. It's aimed towards Sandro Tonali, who puts the pressure on Virgil van Dijk. Last touch comes off the Newcastle man though. It will go out to play for a Liverpool throw-in, but a very comfortable position for the reigning champions a few minutes ago. Now there's nerves jangling. They haven't been able to keep that clean sheet that Arne Slot would have been looking for. Kirkes, who was probably the man at fault for the Newcastle goal, has ball in hand. Taylor's throwing down the line towards Ekitike. Wrestled down to the floor by Fabian Schär. I think it will just be a decision of another Liverpool throw as we hit the hour mark then in this hotly contested clash at St James's Park. Referee just coming across to have a word with Kirkes now. Not sure necessarily why. We've got ref cam on our screens once again. It looks like you're playing a computer game when it goes to ref cam. It looks very, it almost doesn't look real to me, but play resumes. Kirkes lashes the ball forward after taking the initial throw. Livramento heads clear for Newcastle. Chases Joe Linton. Konate's across there as well, and Joe Linton gets the throw in, which he takes quickly. Definitely a foul throw that, and I think the referee has actually spotted it. You never see those given. Foul throw, and oh dear, Newcastle, Sandro Tonali has gone down again, and this, you'd imagine, might be the end of his game.
Yeah, he went down holding his face originally, asking for an elbow from, is it Verts? We'll see it back here. He catches him on the right chin, if you will. It's one of them, though, where it's nothing malicious. It's just when he's trying to almost use it. What he would maybe what Verts' argument would be as well. Tonali, he was the first person to initiate the contact, if you will, and Verts swung an arm back. But you would say, if you are Verts, I don't think it's a card. I think it's just an unfortunate situation. If you are Newcastle, we said this, maybe play those mind games. If they get a Liverpool man sent off, as cynically as it would be, 10 v 10, with the momentum, I think he's back Newcastle then.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's one of those, it's a bit of a silly arm from Verts. He doesn't need to do it. It's like he gets a bang from Tonali, and there's a little bit of an angry reaction, a swing of the arm back, and I don't think he's intended to catch him in the face, but one that has probably had a look at, but deemed it worthy of involved. So play resumes. Joelinton flicks the ball on from this latest Newcastle throw-in. Gravenberch swinging a miss there with his attempted clearance, and it'll go out of play for a Newcastle throw right next to the Liverpool corner flag. Joelinton trying to whip those supporters into a frenzy at that end off the field, and they respond in kind. Two of those Newcastle supporters would have been fearing the worst when they went 2-0 down right at the start of this second half, but it's been a good response from their side. We're going to see another, looks at things, long Tino Livramento throw into the box as Newcastle look to put pressure on Liverpool, going in search of the equalising goal. Livramento sends it in towards Dan Burn, who doesn't win it, but it bounces through, comes off the head of Van Dijk. Burn trying to keep it in. I think, did he? No, he didn't, says the referee, and that will be frustration to Liverpool because Burn headed it straight into the hands of Alisson, who was looking for a quick counter-attack, but play pulled back for the corner.
Yeah, they'll be over the moon, Newcastle there, because it would have actually fallen really kindly for Elanga, but really good keeping from Alisson, and now they've got the corner kicking. Set pieces are vital in the game. If you're down 10, if you're down a man, this is how you could almost skip players in the area, risk it a bit more, but it's all about the delivery. You've got Burn up there, you've got options, and Trippier deliver it well now.
Yeah, usually provides good delivery. The ball whipped in by Kieran Trippier right underneath Alisson, who has to punch up into the air. He's not cleared. He gets a second punch on the ball. The Liverpool goalkeeper, that one a little bit more effective. Burn will hook it back into the box. Up goes Joelinton challenging in the air. Liverpool scramble it clear out to the left-hand side where Trippier, the corner taker, is still waiting. He gives it to Joelinton. Good challenge, good towing from Konate. It will be another Newcastle throw-in, but Kieran Trippier, he almost caught Alisson out and scored directly from the corner.
He did, and Alisson, he's done well to almost keep his balance, because when he's punched it away originally, he almost ends up in the back of his own net. So he does well to come back and claim it. Dan Burn's ball wasn't bad enough to say that he was blindsided by it. But Newcastle have all the momentum, and I think they're going to put another long throw in right now. It just kind of maybe create a real clear-cut chance like they did with the Gamari's header for the goal out of this.
Yeah, down to 10 men, but they are pinning Liverpool back at the moment as referee coming across to deal with a fair amount of pushing and shoving going on the edge of the 6-yard box. You haven't heard of Ibrahim Konate again. We've got ref cam and you can really see Konate clearly his case. It's really good when you see that actually. It's quite entertaining, but referee moves away from the situation. The players continue pushing and shoving once more. It's Konate and Joe Linton involved in things as Livramento sends it into the area place and both sides go down to the floor. Referee happy for play to continue. Szoboszlai will clear for Liverpool, but there's no one up there in red. Flicked back forward by Tonali, cleared hastily out to play by Gravenberch, and it will be a throw into Newcastle this time down on their right hand side.
Yeah, it's one to the back now. Shah and Gakpo at the back post. It's very soft. That'd be really harsh if that is given. But what I would say, it's one of them where Gakpo's giving the referee an option if he wants to be looked at you. You're asking, aren't you, for trouble there? If you've got your hand on the back of someone.
Per una volta nella mia vita non mi sono più sentita sola al mondo. Farei qualunque cosa per te.
Vivi le storie più travolgenti con Sky Cinema. Scopri l'offerta su sky.it.
The official partner of the UEFA Conference League, Laufen.
He's managed to get there ahead of Milos Kerkez and he's twisting and turning like a winger chef. Tries to dig out a cross. He digs out a really good one and Szoboszlai well positioned. Manages to clear. Van Dijk then gets it further away. Newcastle will have to backpedal into their own half, but that was really good play on the wing by one of their central defenders.
Yeah, not expected there from Jar. Maybe that's why Kerkez was a little bit all over the place. He's looking, right, we are not going to do anything. And he almost turned him inside out. He was going to watch another penalty shout, half-hearted. Gravenberch and Joe Linton. Once again, I don't think it is, but when you do have arms all over the player, you're giving them an option to go down, and you're giving the referee something to think about. He's almost got him. He's holding him by the waist almost. Again, very likely Joe Linton goes down. I don't think it is a penalty. But again, when you give the referee options, sometimes they take it away from you.
You do. You see the referee in the background there. That first angle, you say no way. When Joe Linton went to the floor. But again, a risk taken by Gravenberch by grabbing on like that. We saw a penalty like that given in the Manchester United game yesterday, where there was a bit of wrestling going on from both sets of players, and it resulted in a penalty as Liverpool trying to break forward. Ekitike though can't get it to his stride, and it goes out of play for a throw-in. Liverpool very much pinned back at the moment. Newcastle on top despite being down to 10 men, but they do still trail in this game. Bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2 as Wirtz gives chase for Liverpool down the right-hand side. Across comes Burns sliding in. Takes the ball away and out for a throw. The last 5 minutes, possession is 90% in 10-man Newcastle's favour. It's a huge credit to Eddie Howe and his side. They've managed to wrestle their way back into this game. Liverpool looking to get some control back. They do have possession now. Van Dijk, good ball forward to Gravenberch, who can work it out to the right hand side. The referee did well to step out of the way there. Mo Salah now driving forward. He's got Szoboszlai on the overlap. Pass was intercepted by Livramento. Second by the cherry for Salah, who goes back to Konate. Now Curtis Jones. Cross to Kerkez. Way inside the Newcastle half. He's got Gakpo outside him. Cody Gakpo cuts in on his right foot. Cross towards the far post. Livramento. Good awareness from him. Knew there was no one gambling behind. Salah hadn't made the run and he watches the ball out to play for a goal kick. We're into the final quarter then of this pulsating contest. It's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. Lewis will take you through to the full-time whistle.
Cheers, Tom. What a game we've been in for. We were speaking at half-time. Hopefully that Anthony Gordon late red card doesn't really change anything, and we don't drop the intensity, the levels that we got in the first half. And I think we've been treated fantastically well so far in the second half. Newcastle's done so well to fight back. Liverpool, I think they've done well to almost just sit there and accept that Newcastle are going to come forward. It's just, can we maybe get a third? Of course, the strike struck so quickly did the visitors from the Ekitike strike 30 seconds into the second half, but Newcastle done excellently to respond from that. So much emotion at St James's Park, you can see it in the players' faces. As I've already said about Bruno Kamara's with his celebration, to be very careful though. I think Newcastle could easily be down to 10 men if he leaves a late booting, but Liverpool playing out from the back dangerously here. Credit to Alanga and Barnes and Lewis Miley on the field now, of course, for Sandro Tonali there, still pressing high late on into the game. Verts, ball into Saboslai. There is space now for Liverpool. Plays it wide to Salah. Can he create a shot or can he get a ball into the box? Flicks it into the back six, looking for Gakpo, just a little bit of a hit for him. Tries almost to take it down with the back of his heel. And I think that's summed up Mo Salah tonight, unfortunately. And to a degree, the Bournemouth game we covered, you know that if he gets one chance, he'll bury it. He'll look past what happened, but it's just not quite worked for him this evening.
Yeah, he's been slightly on the periphery, hasn't he? He's got the ball and he's cut it on that left foot as we expect him to do, but he hasn't quite been able to find that final ball. He's not really, I remember having a strike on goal of any sort, but his crosses haven't quite worked out. The one good ball he puts in, Curtis Jones couldn't quite sort his feet out in the box. So again, like that Bournemouth game, it's been a bit frustrating for Salah, although he did go on to score a really good goal in stoppage time in that one.
That's the thing. I would be surprised if in 5 minutes' time he curls one into the top corner with a chance like that. But so far, it's been frustrating for the Egyptian. Throwing for Liverpool, just about on the halfway line on the left-hand side. And for another fourth official, early slaughter. I don't think Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall have taken a seat all evening. Kirkes throws it into Ekitike, the goal scorer for Liverpool's second. Tries to link up with Gakpo, but the greatest of passes. And Newcastle do win it. Sharp back to Pope, who goes straight back to his defender. Long ball forward, looking for Joe Linton. A battle between himself and Gravenberch, just goes through both of them. Liverpool come away with the ball with Szoboszlai on the right hand side. I thought very shaky and very much out of his position, which he is, the Hungarian at right back, but the first 20 minutes or so. But since then, I think he's been really calm and confident, especially since going down to 10 men. Newcastle haven't really given him any problems on that left-hand side as much. Van Dijk into Kanate. Of course, Kanate's on a yellow card, as well as Gravenberch. And of course, for Newcastle side, Anthony Gordon, yellow card, then red carded, and Bruno Kamara is also on a yellow card. It's a bit slow for Liverpool, but I think it's what Liverpool want. They need to slow it down. They need to control this game now.
They do, because for the last 20 minutes it's been relentless Newcastle pressure, really pinning Liverpool back. Liverpool need this control. They need to suck the life out of the Newcastle crowd and their players out there. And yeah, control is the word for them, and they're moving it around comfortably at the moment. And Arne Slot will want more of that.
Yeah, he wants I said it earlier, but almost a professional performance. Just see the game out. If you can get a third, fantastic. If it opens up, but there's no need to go for it. There's no need to make any mistakes because, as you've already spoke about, Tom, the speedsters of the league. I know they've all scored them, but Barnes is no slow coach by any mark at all. Alisson to Jones. Still the high press is on from Liverpool, asking questions. Van Dijk floats it over the top for Gakpo, chests it down, looking for Ekitike, loses out though. Kirkes, does he foul Kamara? As their referee says no, and Liverpool will come forward. Ekitike looks for his fullback. Great interception from Trippier there. Can Joelinton pick it up in the middle? Yes, he will, as he then fouled by Gravenberch just inside the Newcastle half. Yes, he will. Joelinton's gone down now, asking maybe for a bit of assistance. That might be a dead leg. It was a bit of a collision and a coming together. He's holding his face as well, actually. That was one way you spot. Gravenberch gets his first. Joelinton takes him out. Joelinton gets there first. Gravenberch takes him out. And he has gone down, and the Newcastle man is on the deck for the moment. Just going to see it back now. It's a late one, he catches him, but I don't see him much. There's no malice there. But again, Gravenberch on the yellow, so he's going to be careful.
He does. I don't think he puts much of a challenge in, really, does he? He's running across, and Joelinton's momentum takes him into him, as you say, possibly a yellow card. Possibly a free kick, but I'm not 100% sure where Joelinton's picked up the injury. Has he landed awkwardly? Is it, as you say, maybe a straight knee into the leg? It's a dead leg, but he certainly looks to be in quite some discomfort there, Joelinton. He's not a player that, he's usually, he's got one leg hanging off. He's out there running around. So, again, Newcastle will be hoping he's okay to continue, having already seen Sandro Tonali go off for an injury.
Yeah, 100%. You won't want to see two of your three starting midfielders go off, especially for injuries. they're a bit of a weird one. It could be a shoulder injury, a shoulder strain. Could be a bit of an awkward one for Tonali. It could be an awkward one for Joe Linton as well. Just seeing the goals back, the strike from Gravenberch, great strike outside the area. Just took a nick off Shah, but Pope was probably beaten. Gakpo, his assist for Ekitike. I think it was poor defending from Newcastle. I thought they got caught a little bit cold and napping, but then we're seeing Newcastle's goal back. There was a lovely ball in from Livramento and at the back post. I think, as you said, Kirkes, he almost turned around and he gave Gamares a bit of a lift off, if you will. It wasn't a foul at all. Great header from the Newcastle skipper. That's how we are 2-1 in favour of Liverpool. And Joe Linton isn't looking good, and there will be a triple change for Newcastle. It's like Jacob Ramsey, it's like Lewis Hall and William Sula coming on, and Joe Linton going off. That'll be a real worry. It might be safety, maybe being safer than sorry, but that seeing him come off is a real blow for Newcastle, as well as Tonali, as you said.
Yeah, you lose so much energy and drive in the middle of the park, but maybe fresh legs for this game anyway is not the worst thing in the world. They'll be concerned for the matches going forward, of course. But yeah, Jacob Ramsey coming on for his debut, I forgot earlier on, as another midfield option. He could enter the fray, and yeah, opportunity for him. Lewis Hall just coming back from injury as well, an attack-minded wing back, and an actual centre forward as well in Asula coming on. So it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle line up now.
Yeah, it will be. Joe Linton, I can only assume that is for Jacob Ramsey. We're waiting for confirmation of who has gone off and who is coming on. So that is spot on. Joe Linton is off, and Ramsey will be on for his debut for the Toon Army, and it will be Hall, and it will be Asula. It's just who's on, who's coming off for both of the Newcastle changes. It'll be a straight swap. So Trippier is off and Hall is on. I can imagine Livramento will go back to him on the right hand side. Hall will be on the left hand side. And then Asula, will it be? I can only assume one of the two forwards, Inalanga or Barnes, and it will be Asula coming on for Barnes. So I can only assume probably still be a two up top with Alanga and Asula. But as you said, you've probably got Alanga who could play off Asula and more out and out number 9, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Asula, a bit more physical presence up there, not much experience, but I saw him a bit towards the end of last season. I thought he did do a job when he came on and can be a threat. And clearly someone that they rate highly going forward. He'll be thinking, this is my opportunity to impress and stake a claim to be a starter in at least the short term with Gordon potentially suspended. But yeah, he's on, and it makes sense. Hall coming on, Livramento going to right back and just giving Newcastle a bit more pace and dynamism in those areas.
See, Hall's usually fantastic at set pieces. He whips one in here. Ended away well though by Newcastle. Miley looks to head it back to Livramento. He gets that all wrong, and there could be a counter-attack on here for the Reds. Jones takes it past Miley. Ekitike's open, heavy touch. Still coming forward though is Jones. Plays it into Ekitike. Gets it all wrong. Fantastic play from Jones. I just think he needs to play that pass a little bit earlier. He was under pressure from Asula. Shah's gone down as well in the Liverpool penalty area. It might be a head injury. Allison's just having a word and he's saying to the medic staff to get on. So hopefully it's just a little knock. It's not a concussion or anything bad. But Newcastle just seem to be falling like flies at the moment.
They do. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. We credit to Allison. He was quick to let everyone know that Shah needed to receive some treatment. And it looks like he's in plenty of discomfort there. The Newcastle central defenders, I say, I'm not sure what's happened. And Kieran Trippier's incensed on the sidelines and letting the fourth official know that it was a head injury. Jason Tyndall speaking to the fourth official, Tony Harrington, as well. But yeah, we've not seen a replay, so maybe it was a clash of heads. I mean, sometimes when it's those, it's quite a nasty one, you don't get those replays. But hopefully Fabian Schär's okay.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully the Newcastle defender is okay to continue. It might just be that looks like it's holding the right side of his head.
See, some cuts I think on the side of the head as well, so it would be a nasty one.
What I have to say as well is sometimes obviously if he goes up for a header and he catches it, it could also sometimes be the drop if you've gone up and you land right on your head or right on your back, you're winded and everything. It could be the fall that's happened as well as sometimes we haven't seen a replay. But sometimes if it's a bit of a nasty one, I don't really blame them for not showing them. It's more than understandable. Liverpool are preparing what looks like to be a double change. Keys are coming on. Shari's just, as Tom said, a bit of blood, a little bit of cuts there, so he might have gone up and been awkward. And again, one of them maybe similar to Joe Linton, like I said, different injury to the part of the body. It's more that if there's even a slight hint of a head injury or a concussion, we're just going to go back and watch. Schär goes up, Kamara's is there, Van Dijk is there. He gets a straight left elbow, then a right elbow as well. and goes down, but it's right at the top of his head, so a really sore one. And again, it might be the head injury, you don't want to mess with them at all. Might be better that we just get him off as soon as we can.
Yeah, it's an innocuous one. That's 3 injuries for Newcastle. They've been very innocuous with Tonali and Joe Linton before him, but yeah, just the elbow, the arm of Virgil van Dijk inadvertently catching a very Cherry only had eyes for the ball, so yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to continue. They won't take any unnecessary risk, but Conor Bradley and Federico Chiesa, who's the 2 waiting to come on for Liverpool.
So Wirtz will be coming off, I believe that is for Bradley. I can only assume he will go to right back, and then obviously Jones supports like Crawford Birch at midfield 3, and also it's like you've got Ekitike. So the 2 new Liverpool signings, if you will, are coming off from Frankfurt and Leverkusen respectively. So double change, Ekitike and Wirtz off, Bradley and Chiesa on. And we will say what Chiesa will add, he will add pace on that counter-attack.
He will, and he's deserving of his opportunity after scoring such an important goal against Bournemouth on the opening night to restore Liverpool's lead, make it 3-2 before they went on to win 4-2. Asher's back up, and I don't think he's going to be able to continue. He's a bit perplexed, but it looks like Malik Chow, the new signing, is going to be coming on.
Looks like he will be the man to come on. Liverpool defending now, though. Ramsey coming forward, ball into the box, deflected well away. Now Newcastle are down tonight, and almost maybe have to see this little piece of play out until they get a man back on the field. Lovely play from Burnley. Memento now, of course, on his favoured right-hand side. 1-2 with Alanga, ball back into Guimaraes. He can't force a late foul there, which he does. And I think the referee is saying that is your last chance, mate. There's no more chances. Already on a yellow card for having an argument with the referee. 2 or 3 fouls now, maybe even pushing 4. Will Smith actually now. Chow is on for Shah, making his debut, of course, a new signing from Italy there. Guimaraes, he's got to be careful.
I wonder if we're going to see a replay of that, because my first thought is at this stage of the game, that's usually a yellow card offence, isn't it? He was slightly over the top of the ball as he was stretching. Benefit of the doubt given by the referee. Maybe there's an element of, I've already sent 1 Newcastle player off, so that bar raises for a second red card, but yeah, we're not seeing a replay, so maybe it was more innocuous than I initially thought, but he's really treading that tightrope.
Every time I see him take a miss touch, I'm like, oh, he's going to go in here. This is going to be the second yellow card. But for now, Newcastle only down to 10 men. But again, it could be quite easily Dan Burns on the yellow card as well. So they'll be careful with those 2 Newcastle players. But Chow is on for Shah. Going down as a head injury, that one will. But they have brought some fresh legs on of Newcastle. So right now, and Liverpool brought some on as well. But to me, they're the ones who might end this game the fresher of the 2. And looking to come forward, and it's lucky for Newcastle, just about to be 82 minutes in. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. The Flash at St James's Park this Monday evening. It's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. Goal in the first half from Gravenberch. Early one on from Ekitike in the second half, but Liverpool 2-0 off. And the Guimaraes header just before the hour mark, give or take, have kept Liverpool in this in the second half. If you're Newcastle, to me, to a degree, I'm thinking, well, for me anyway, we're already 2-0 down. Let's maybe push it. If we concede a third, well, we were already losing, but we went for it and then shut up shop. Because they have a lot of momentum, I still think, and it's Liverpool who are trying to calm the waters.
Well, I think Newcastle, when they went 2-0 down right at the start of the second half, they hand off to be in this position now, 2-1, and very much in the game. Yeah, I think it's worth it. If they concede another couple of goals between now and the final whistle, they'll still get a hero's reception really from the supporters on the ground, because they've shown so much character. They've dug in, they've been very much in this game. We're just looking at the replay of the challenge from Bruno Guimaraes earlier on. It doesn't quite go over the top initially on the case. It's more the follow-through that catches the Italian. Again, that could easily have been a second yellow card. I almost think from his reaction he might have been anticipating something, so he's got away with one there.
I'd have to agree. I think he's actually, but I think you're right, maybe as a referee. I've already sent one off. Might not make it out of Newcastle this evening if I give him a second. Should I just be very, very lenient? Because if that happens again, he's off. If something similar, he catches something like he is off for sure as a Newcastle skipper. Alisson has it in his own penalty area. Boots it long. Again, he's just looking for a space. Ball headed away by Chow. Chiesa coming forward. Great tackle from Dan Burn. He's on the yellow card, so we have to be careful as well. But great tackle from behind it. If you are Chow coming on in a big occasion, a big moment as a substitute to make your debut, it's an awkward one as it is. at home to Liverpool, regardless of the score or regardless of anything. And that wasn't the best of ways to start. But Newcastle are coming forward with Elanga, switches it to the left to Ramsey. He's got an overlapping Hall on the left-hand side, fresh legs on the left-hand side for sure. For Newcastle, Hall will whip one into the back sticks. It's over everyone's head. Will it trickle out for a throw-in? Yes, it will. Hall will had. He had that set piece and the quality of delivery, but sometimes when you've just got on the field of play, you've got 10 minutes, you can't get accustomed to the game. I think if he is fully fit, he probably delivers a pinpoint cross there.
Yeah, and he missed the back end of last season as well, so rustier than most in that regard, perhaps. But yeah, just a little bit heavy-handed with the cross into the box. Newcastle, I mean, they've still got plenty of time, really, haven't they? 5.5 minutes at the 90. I think we're easily getting 7-8 minutes added on a stoppage as well. There's been a lot of breaks in play in this second half.
A lot of breaks in play, but a lot of yellow cards. Jolinton was injured, Shah's being injured. Chow lovely turn of foot there to get away from the on-rush into Bosline. Give credit to Liverpool as well. They look still very fresh to press Newcastle down. All the way back to Pope, who looks to go long. Van Dijk will head it back into the Newcastle half. Decent header. Now Osula comes away with it down the right-hand side. He's got Guimaraes further forward. He's got Elanga as well. He probably wants to get himself into the area. Tries to trick his way away from Jones. He just goes down a little bit soft there for me, but he's always going to go down there. Relieves the pressure a little bit. And again, Osula is almost someone who's come on and so lively and wants to get so involved that make the simple pass, get yourself in the area there instead.
Yeah, it's one of those. He makes one mistake and he compounds it with a second. He plays the wrong ball. It's intercepted. A little bit too eager to atone for the error. He leads into Jones, who was all too grateful to take the contact, go down, win the free kick.
It's one of them. I don't blame him. I think it's soft, but you see it all the time, don't you? Get in front of your man and any little contact, he's going to go down. Liverpool dominating possession for the game, just about 65%, and that number's going to drop as we get later on into the evening at St James's Park. So Bosline, Liverpool have worked it fantastically well through that heavy Newcastle press, and forward they come with Bradley. He's got Salah further to his right-hand side, so all pass into him, but he's still coming forward, back into Bradley. Great tackle from Guimaraes to get away from his man, puts it through the legs of the Northern Irishman. He's still coming forward, he's still being tackled and then fouled by Bradley, and the referee, does he give him a yellow card? Yes, he does. Newcastle wanted to get on with it. Livramento was free, but I think the ball was over him. But another yellow card, and I think that's more from the cynical point of view that there was a counter on and Bradley's brought him down, but for the betterment of the team. Yeah, he was biting at the heels, Conor Bradley, the whole way as he was tracking back. He gave it away. He was had his pocket picked by Guimaraes, and then just battling, and as soon as he dangles that leg and Guimaraes goes down, the yellow card was always going to follow. He ran away as well, almost knowing, didn't he? Right, I'm going to go in the referee's book here. He's a substitute. So that's another player in Simon Hooper's book this evening. It will be a free kick about halfway in Newcastle's half, but Liverpool very high line from this free kick. Pope will float to the edge, but he'll fall for Osula here, puts it past Alisson, and Newcastle have an equaliser late on in the game. Osula's come on as a substitution. He said to Eddie Howe, right, I can lead the line here at Newcastle United. Great flick on from Byrne, just great tap past Alisson. Newcastle have the equaliser. St James's Park has erupted, and as you said, Tom, a lot of extra time could remain. I still think there might be a goal in this. Yeah, anyone's guess which way it's going to go. It's route one from Newcastle. You said it, the high line that Liverpool had from that free kick. It's long from Pope, flicked on by Byrne, and Osula, he just gambles. He gambles and expects the Dan Byrne to win the flick on, which he does. He's not being tracked. Gravenberch is, who just slightly switches off. It's a really good finish from Osula as well. He's under pressure. He knows he's going to get clattered by the on-rushing Alisson. He just flicks it beyond the goalkeeper. It bounces almost in slow motion into the back of the net. Huge credit to Newcastle. Down to 10 men. 2-0 down early in this second half. They've done brilliantly to get back into this game, and it's anyone's guess who's going to go on and win it. I mean, you said it as well. You were spot on when you did say it. It's almost in this second half, can Newcastle take? It could be get here, it could be get in the last 10 minutes, and it could be go for it. You've got a draw. You can see what it means to Newcastle. They'll be over the moon with a draw if it finishes this way. But I think they will think that we could go, we get a third, of what a result that would be, down to 10 men for the entirety of the second half. and you've ended up coming away with 3 points. And what a performance in the second half, would you say?
Yeah, it would be absolutely sensational. You do have to just curb that, and Eddie Howe will probably be trying to get this message on. They can't, get so excited going for the winner. Then all their hard work's undone by conceding at the other end. But yeah, brilliant second half for Newcastle so far.
Last year, Osula, 19 games in all competitions, only the 2 goals, only the one in the Premier League. Well, he's already got one this season. Another free kick for Liverpool, thumping into the area. Alisson comes away with it well that time, but again, Liverpool were a little bit lower in the line, so it was pretty easy to defend. I think the high line was the undoing there. Kirkes has it, looks to go long to Chiesa. Chow looks coming clear. Salah's nearly there. Hall does well to head it away. Livramento has it. I can only imagine he'll look to get this away. Lovely ball into Guimaraes. Missed time by the ball's like that. He plays it long into Alanga down the right hand side. He's always going to get there. Can his teammates help him? He's almost got a 3-on-1 against himself. Just tries to put a ball into the box, deflected off Kirkes. He does great there. Great round of applause as well from the St James Park faithful. Great from Alanga there, and a corner here. Newcastle, they're almost trying to suck that ball in the net of the fans.
They are, brilliant energy from Anthony Alanga. It's a good ball for Guimaraes down the right-hand channel, but at this stage in the game, to find that kind of energy and pace, he did really well to get there. And he's waiting, hoping for some support. I think someone was coming in at the far post, but the best he could hope for there was what he got, which is a corner.
And we're in for some late round. We've just hit the 90th minute mark now. It's all up to the fourth official and the referee. How much added time are we going to be in for? Waiting for the corner for Newcastle. Joining us late on to this Newcastle 2, Liverpool 2. It's really lived up to the hype as this Monday night game. 11 minutes of added time. So I think both teams will probably think, if Liverpool even think, right, we could catch them on a counter, Cole, then we could get a goal. So we're in for a long evening still to continue. 11 minutes of added time, and we're still yet for the corner to go in. 30 seconds, I should say, of that 11 minutes have been played. Alanga, it's an outswinger. Poor one, easily dealt with by Virgil van Dijk. It will go out for a throw-in. I can imagine Livramento might be coming over here. It's on his right-hand side where he is now. A long throw-in will come, but one thing Osula has added, of course it's fresh legs, of course it's a finisher and a proper number 9. He's also added height from these set pieces.
Yeah, that physicality, just engaging with the Liverpool centre-backs, which they've not really had this second half since Anthony Gordon was sent off. He adds that rawness as well, if you like, and just, that out-and-out centre-forward that Newcastle have been craving in this match.
Livramento, on throwing Burn and Osula will be the 2 targets, headed away by Van Dijk. Kirkes, he's had a foul against Ilanga or himself. No, it isn't. He's just off of the Hungarian. Landed awkwardly on his back, but another throw-in. And Livramento will just walk on over, pick the ball up. See the Newcastle fans. Of course, the Liverpool fans will be high up in the other corner. So we can't really see many pictures of them, but the two Army are trying to push their side into the league for the first time this evening. But I think even coming away with a 2-2 draw with what's been up against them this evening, they'll be over the moon with that. Livramento into the front post. Burn flicks it on. Alisson comes, punches it away. Salah can hit them on the counter attack. No, he can't. Ramsey comes over, wins the ball well. Guimaraes, lovely first time pass into Hall. Overlapping is Guimaraes. Can he find Ramsey? No, he can't, but deflected away off Bradley. Another corner. And they're celebrating that for goal, but they're penning Liverpool in right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely sensational from Newcastle. The spirit, the character they are showing, the crowd playing their part as well. They have got Liverpool pinned back, and let's not forget, this is a Newcastle side that have played the entirety of this second half with 10 men.
And they did as well, the first 45, let's not forget, they put a lot of energy into that. They were pressing high from minute 1. So it's been a fantastic performance by Newcastle. It will be an in-swinger this time for Orlando. Liverpool are preparing to change, but I think they almost want to get the ball away out of their own penalty area before they do that. Swindon into the front post. Kamara's trying to get on the end of it. It'll fall for Miley outside the area. He goes for a strike, deflected well away. Livramento will hang it back up into the area. Burn tries to head it back down. It will fall for Salah, who says, I'm not even going to try and come away with the ball. I'm just going to get it out. Try and get us out of our own penalty area. Get us further forward the field. Newcastle will still come forward with the ball. Ramsey into Miley. He's striding forward. Flicks it over to the right-hand side. I'm thinking he's expecting what I were expecting the first Livramento to be there, but he isn't, and Liverpool will get the ball back. And maybe even it's brought back with Dan Burn beating offside. I'm not too sure, but just over 7-8 minutes left to go in this game, and it's one that I would want to call if it's a draw or even tip, because as I said, I think Liverpool could go up and catch Newcastle cold still.
Yeah, it could be the ultimate sucker punch. The camera on our screens has found those Liverpool supporters high up at St James's Park. There's a lot of glum faces from those travelling fans. They thought their 3 points were wrapped up when Hugo Ekitike doubled their lead just a few seconds into the second period, but a lot has happened since then. But as you say, Lewis, it feels like there's still a sting in the tail one way or another.
It could possibly be. Now forward, lovely ball into Osula. Those fresh legs, gets there in front of Van Dijk, and he get his head up and put it into a teammate. Liverpool have got bodies back, but Newcastle got bodies forward. Guimaraes into Livramento. Can he find a player in the box? No, he can't, but deflected away off of Kirkes. And the corners and the set pieces are just mounting up for Newcastle right now. Livramento may have been offside. He was very close to it. I don't think the refs give it another corner, but they're all about the deliveries at this point.
They are. Elanga hasn't really gotten beyond the front post, has he? But there is a little bit of a tactic in going in that kind of area. We saw the last one, Guimaraes running across that front stick. So I think they're looking for the flick on. They only need to get one right, Newcastle, though, at this stage in the game.
You've got Byrne, you've got Miley, you've got Osula, you've got Chow. There is a lot of height for Newcastle. It's just, can they find him? And Guimaraes isn't the tallest player, but well, he's got a right header on him, which we've already seen for Newcastle's first goal. Again, a lot of pushing and a lot of shoving in the penalty area. Referee Simon Hooper just having a word with both Bradley and Gakpo. Burns there as well. Byrne and Bradley are on yellow cards. Burns probably saying, right, needs to be two of you to come and mark me. Right, well, the Liverpool have the man advantage, so they can almost do that. Ball outswinger, headed away by Van Dijk. Right up into the air. Osula goes straight into his man Kirkes there. Kirkes, he's been involved all evening long. And it will be a Liverpool free kick. And Liverpool, this is what they want. Calm it down. Get a bit of possession back, take the sting out of Liverpool right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit naive that for Osula. We're now going to see the Liverpool double change that they've been waiting to make for pretty much the entirety of stoppage time. We're 5.5 minutes into it, but they've just not had a chance because it's been relentless. Backs against the wall with Newcastle putting the pressure on.
It's a double change. Elliott for Jones. Moho in for Gakpo, the youngster, number 7 on his back. That always shows that the youngsters coming on. If you've got a number like that on your back, so double change again, probably getting fresh legs onto the field for Liverpool. They have it in the middle of Gravenberch, sprays it out to Bradley on the right hand side. Back to Chiesa it goes. Miley fighting and battling his way through with Bradley, plays it back to Byrne, who will just boot it away. 96 minutes on the clock. 6 of the 11 minutes have been played of any time. 5 to go. We've already been treated this evening at St James's Park. Are we in for more late drama? Can Liverpool grab another goal? Since Ekitike's goal in the 46th minute, Liverpool 0 shots, 0 corners. It's been pretty poor. Moving forward down the left hand side, ball into the box. It's a poor one. Liverpool will have a throw in. It was cleared away by Newcastle. What they will be saying, you spoke about the clean sheets earlier, Tom. Well, Liverpool in 2 games now have gone in the Premier League, have gone 2-0 up and have been penned back regardless of if they win, it's still the win. But twice have gone 2-0 up, twice have been penned back.
Yeah, you can't sustain conceding 2 goals a game, can you? And expect to win a Premier League title, and they need to find a balance to this Liverpool team. They've got a wealth of attacking talent, and at the moment they're being left exposed defensively. Bournemouth capitalised on that last week, and Newcastle certainly are in this game.
Liverpool have it with Canate just striding forward into the Newcastle half. Elliott, split ball over the top for Salah. Hall has it dealt with, headed away, does well to come down with it as well. Battling on with the Egyptian is Liverpool. She's in the corner, right on the corner flag, both battling for it. It was deflected last off Salah, trying to claim it half-heartedly. He knew it came off of him. Hall, fantastic defensive contribution there. You see Ali Slop, shake of the head. He's not happy. And I think he, as we saw, he came out of the second half a couple of seconds later. He came out to see the goal scored. He's thinking, right, we've got this sewn up. Again, I think you'll be thinking, right, what could we do? Because Bournemouth have caught us, Newcastle caught us with 10 men. It's only a matter of time before someone probably really takes the Liverpool team apart, I feel, to a degree.
Yeah, it's Arsenal, isn't it, next weekend for Liverpool, and that'll be a real test of their mettle. Still time in this game, though. I mean, all those defensive problems, if they nick a winner late on, it's still be 6 points from 6 and a perfect start in that regard, but it don't look like creating a chance. That statistic that just came up a few minutes ago that you mentioned. No shots at all since they scored their second goal.
And that was 30 seconds into the second half, so it's almost like saying, yeah, they scored a goal for the entirety of the second half, they want a threat against Newcastle. Ball forward for Sula. Gives away a foul there. Newcastle have defending to do once again. I'm sure that they're probably thinking, right, let's defend. If a counter-attack pops up for us, great. If not, as you said, I think Newcastle probably 46 minutes into the game in the second half, so they're taking their hand off to be at this point in the game against the champions Liverpool. They haven't gone the right time. As Tom said, this game is not done just yet. Liverpool might have one big chance left in them. Kanate into Elliott, looks for Salah. Hall is tight on him and wins the ball. Miley back to Pope. The Bosline was pressuring him when he comes away with the ball. Van Dijk, confident little header to Kirk. It's not the greatest first touch, and it's nice to go back to Alisson safe for them. Sorry, maybe even both these teams are thinking, right, maybe we'll have a chance here, but let's not make a mistake later on because we put so much into this.
Yeah, Newcastle were pinning Liverpool back for the first part of stoppage time, but it's just evened out again, and yeah, it's a bit of a game of chess as both sides bide that time for that one last potential opportunity.
Kanate looks for a teammate. Newcastle, everyone behind the ball, making it awkward. Lovely play out to Bradley, edge of the area. Now is Chiesa. Salah into the box. The ball's like, leaves it in the back post, and Liverpool have taken the lead. And it's the youngster who's come onto the field of play, Engabaha, and he's won it at the death for Liverpool. Only 1 minute left of stoppage time. What a move it was from Liverpool. Salah dummy into the box from the Bosline, and the youngster, what a dream little substitution appearance for him. Newcastle put so much into this game, but it looks like Liverpool will be coming away with all 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely sensational for the youngster coming on 16 years of age. He doesn't turn 17 for another 4 days. What a way to celebrate an upcoming birthday. But it's a brilliant move from Liverpool down the right-hand side. They work it really nicely. And what a dummy it is when the cross comes in from the right from Dominic Szoboszlai, who started this game as the right back. He's finishing it as the centre forward, and he lets that run through his legs. No one's rocking Ungamoa at the far post, but what an emphatic finish from the teenager. First time, right-footed, whips it beyond Pope. Does it kiss the post? I think it does. Into the side netting. Brilliant finish. Wonderful celebration for him, and he's surely won this game for Liverpool.
I mean, what a moment for the youngsters. So calm and cool under pressure as well. What a movement. Well, that's where that man advantage has come from. Kirk said there was no one marking him. Livermento's turned around and gone, well, that should be my man. But obviously, because Liverpool have the extra man, that's probably the extra man over there. You can see what it means to Arne. Slot his coaching staff. I think for a moment he's celebrated, and he almost goes, no, we have to calm down, we have to get ready. And I mean, you said it earlier, the Newcastle fans are still applauding the Newcastle players in defeat right now. I think that's probably, the referee might even blow for full time after this kicked off. But the character that Newcastle have shown in this second half has been absolutely off the charts. And now there's a little bit of pushing and shoving handbags from Dan Burn and Salah and Chiesa. Van Dijk's not happy as well. You don't want to see this ending like this, but Newcastle have a free kick. Drama might not be over.
No, Dan Burn and Virgil van Dijk registrating each other in the penalty area now. One last chance for Newcastle from this free kick.
Last chance saloon, if you ever seen it. Pope's even going up as well. It was 3-3 last time at St James's Park last season between the two. Can Newcastle do the unthinkable and go and grab another equaliser? 11 minutes of added time. We've played just over 12. Referee Simon Hooper having another few words. I mean, what Pope does, he has extra body in the penalty area. What Newcastle have lost. It's swung in by Gamares. It's all over the place, headed away by Newcastle. Apologies, actually off at the head of Van Dijk, so it's another corner. This must be the last chance. If Liverpool get this out of their penalty area, the referee will blow the full-time whistle. There'll be Lewis Hall to take, and it will be an in-swinger. They've been pretty poor from corners in this second half. Alanga's taken most of them with Trippier off the field. But it will be another full-back in Lewis Hall to take this one. Everyone is crowded around Alisson, the goalkeeper. I can only imagine where this one is going. Arm in the air for Hall. Swings it in. Van Dijk heads it away. Alanga chases to keep the attack alive. Hooper still hasn't even looked at his watch. Ball by Alanga. Pouring to Guimaraes out for a throw-in. You can see the anger from Guimaraes. He's put so much into this game. He got the first goal for Newcastle. But as you said, Newcastle, I look at them and they've put so much into this game. Still more handbags between Guimaraes and other players. You don't want to see this end ugly because this has been a great game.
Yeah, as in, Newcastle are frustrated and understandable, but yeah, they just need to try and keep those emotions in check. Alisson coming across and acting as peacemaker. Of course, he's a Brazil international colleague with Grimares, who was a bit of a flare between him and Ryan Gravenberch, 2 players on yellow card. But yeah, it's had everything, this game, hasn't it? I mean, there's been so many classics down the years in this fixture, and this will go down as one of them.
It will, and it's the youngster who's made the difference. What a 90 minutes of football we've had at St James's Park. Liverpool held a 2-0 lead, and Newcastle were down to 10. They did bring it back for Bruno Guimaraes, and also substitute